because things got moved again.
Yeah.
Everything was moved.
Webcam off, desktops now
There we go.
off. Now the mixer's on.
All right, cool.
Alright, so that entire going live, no one can hear us, but that's fine.
That's okay.
No one can hear it. Alright. Testing 1, 2.
All right, my audio test. 1, 2, 3.
Test, test. Arguing about comic books and movies.
Yeah, it sounds fine.
Cool.
And now we go over here. Ah! That was really loud.
Maybe, ease it in next time. You don't gotta
No,
just shove
this
it in
one-
super hard.
This one touched
Oh, yeah.
the other one whenever I was plugging it in.
You can't let him cross.
You can't. That's
Actually, no, wait, that wasn't that. That's this cable.
Yeah.
Touching this makes really loud noise.
You should keep touching it.
Yeah.
Also, we need to get new cables. Based on just touching this makes
There's
it really...
no way, like, even
This
a
one,
really
no.
good cable
This
is
one, no.
expensive.
This one, okay, it's... No, yeah, wiggling it. It's got a bad connection in there.
Mm.
That'll be like the third cable that we've had go out.
Yeah.
So, all right, Amazon lists, like, after the show, order, like, 3 more cables. Change all the fucking cables out again.
As they die.
It's... Unless they made a right-angled one, which
Oh,
would
yeah.
make it, like, instead of having this, like, drop off. That's where you can feel the damage is that it's right there where it constantly curves. But whatever.
All right.
I'm done with that.
Yeah.
I'm done with that. All right. That's just, I guess, record then.
Yep.
Yep.
So, with so many great comic books out there, why is it so hard to adapt our favorite heroes to games? Adventurers, toss on your utility belts for an all-new episode.
Are you done, you giant elephant of a person?
God, I know, right?
At least they're not fucking hitting each other again.
I mean, it's only 7:30.
Yeah, I mean,
The night is young.
I might have to call the cops again.
Yeah, those cinder block chanclas though.
You're so good.
Yeah,
You should get some of those for Axe League.
right.
Man, throwing axes was fun.
Yeah, throwing
Like,
axes is
I did
great.
not realize, like a couple of times I was like, holy shit, my score is really high.
No, yeah, you got some natural talent there for sure. You were throwing some bullseyes.
Yeah, no, like me and Lash were going against each other. It was just like, we're doing really well. Why are we doing well?
Damn it, come on. Greetings, adventurers, and welcome to the show. We are the Surly Nerd, your one-stop shop for geek news that might have flown under your radar over the last week. I'm your host, James, and sitting across from me is the producer of this fine show, Tony.
Hi.
And back with us is our third chair host, Hector.
I'm back, baby.
Hey, if you're new to our show, welcome. This week we'll be talking about why comic book to game adaptations are so bad. But before that, we have a recap of all the nerd news that's fit to rant about for your ears. Don't forget that you can keep connected with us at surlynerd.com. You can follow us on all social media platforms and even donate to the show. Every penny donated goes right back into the show that we make for you every week. With all that out of the way, ladies and gentlemen, adventurers of all ages, it's time for The Prelude.
Prelude.
All right, this is The Prelude. This is our warming up. This is what we've been doing with ourselves this week. Hector, you weren't with us last week. What did you do?
Let's see. I've finished a lot of Netflix stuff recently. I finished the second season of The Punisher.
I'm right at the end of it, so
Do
yeah.
recommend. Very good.
So I'm sad. I know they're gonna cancel it.
Well,
I know
I
that
mean-
like, it hasn't come out yet, but we know it's over.
There's no reason for us to think the pattern isn't going to continue. So
Yeah.
yeah, I assume it's about a week from cancellation.
Right.
But I really did like it. I watched the movie Polar. Came out Friday, I think, on Netflix.
Yeah,
That
it's
is Netflix-
my.
Yeah.
I didn't have
Netflix,
time
John
this
Wick.
weekend.
Yes, it's not. Okay, so the because of the trailer on Netflix, it came out as like, this will be like our John Wick. It's nothing like John Wick. Think more like Lucky Number 11 or what was that, Hard Boiled? The one with Clive Owen where he killed someone with a carrot.
Okay.
Oh,
You know the movie I'm
yeah,
talking about?
Yeah, it's
More like that. It's that kind of level of camp, but also like that level of just brutal action. It was awesome. So think less John Wick, more of that. But because sometimes it's fucking ridiculous.
Not serious like John
Right.
Wick.
Yeah, and I mean there are serious parts, but it goes so over the top and in a hilarious way. I highly recommend it though. Some people were I read a few reviews that were turned off by the fact that it wasn't John Wick.
Right.
But if you don't go in expecting that, you can enjoy the movie for itself.
Yeah, it's got Mads Mikkelsen. So I mean,
Yeah,
it's
and
gonna be
he's
fun.
great. And Catherine Winnick is one of my favorite female actors. So yeah.
Speaking of John Wick, James finally saw John Wick 2
He
this
did.
weekend.
We strapped him to a chair and opened his eyes. You know,
Really, you just
Clockwork
said
Orange style.
You just said there was pizza, and I showed
yes.
up.
Yeah, no.
Shoot 'em up was the name of the
Shoot him up. Thank you,
Clive
Will.
Owen movie,
Thank
yes.
you.
Yeah, so I went over to your place and watched John Wick 2.
Yeah.
And I mean, I feel like I can't dwell on that too much because the movie's been out for a while.
Yeah, but I mean, what'd you think?
I think I'm ready for 3.
Yeah, I think we're
You're about
all
ready.
for
Okay,
3.
you're ready for 3 in like 3 years because you have to wait like we did. We get to go watch it in like 2 months.
We're seeing it in the theater. Damn it!
Like human beings. That's
yes,
what we're going to go
exactly.
do. Oh, man. So I guess one of the big things that we did this weekend was Anthem had its demo this weekend.
It did.
Yes.
Did you guys play it? I know I
did.
did.
I
Awesome.
did. I
Yeah.
did play Anthem. I actually was playing to the point where the servers got shut off.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have a lot of time this weekend to play Anthem.
Oh,
I
sure.
had like an hour like on Friday,
Mm-hmm.
and then Sunday I had a massive hangover, so I was only able to play for a few hours on Sunday. Like I had to take a nap after I woke up. I had such a hangover.
Yeah.
But I got to try out the Stronghold. I played it on PC and on Xbox. I thoroughly enjoyed the hell out of it.
yeah, I
don't know
thought
about
it was a
y'all.
lot of fun too.
I'm looking forward
There was
to
a lot
it.
of complaints about it, but they all seem to be technical complaints, like, "Oh, the server was having problems, so we don't like Anthem." And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, you do realize the point of this
No,
was
there's-
to pressure test these servers."
There's
Yeah.
also some fundamental game issues that need to be fixed. Like if you go in to launch a mission and you're joining in with other people, the other people can move ahead and unlock the dialogue before you load in, and you won't actually know what you're supposed to do or where you're going
Okay.
or the actual storyline.
Sure, I can see that.
Like you will literally lose out part of the game.
Well, they've tried to design most of the story plots to take place in the city when there's no one else around you. Everyone is instanced in a solo instance when they're in the city. It's just them and the NPCs. It's not until you get into the world and you get like, you know, radio chatter.
And it's that radio
you
chatter
could
that you're
miss
literally losing out on.
Right.
The game doesn't do a very good job of explaining what mission objectives are.
The game is hardly, I mean, just based on the story we've seen so far in the demo, the game hardly does a job of explaining what the Anthem is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, we'll
this
probably get
this
there.
wasn't a story demo per se.
No, not at all. It was a couple of missions.
Yeah.
You're like already level 10 at this point.
Yeah, it was giving you level 10, and then you had basically free access to all 4 javelins, which you will not be able to do that in the game. You start with 1, and then you gain them as you level up.
In this demo, you only got the one javelin until you finished, basically, to the
You
end
had to
of
finish the
demo.
first 2 story missions, and then you unlocked all 3 of them. And you could not even actually be the level it tells you you're supposed to be to get them. Because I found that out at level 11. You're supposed to get them at 12, but it gave it to me 11 when I went to go modify my...
Yeah, so I went in and I jumped in with the Storm class because I knew that's what I was kind of being drawn towards, having played a Warlock in Destiny. Was not disappointed. Am a glass cannon.
Yeah.
Absolutely, 110% more than in Destiny. I am a glass cannon playing
Yeah.
that class.
You stay away, you zap.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, because currently in Destiny, Warlocks are... no, they're cannons because you can't fucking hit them because they have vulnerability, and they just keep blowing everything up, and I'm really still angry at them.
What did you play? Did you try any of the other ones?
No, I only did the scout. Like Tony, I didn't have a ton of time this weekend, so I didn't get all the way to the end of the demo, but I really enjoyed the time that I had with it. And I have Origin Access Premiere, so I mean, it unlocks in about 2 weeks for me. Yeah, like February 14th or something.
It's actually interesting. We all actually played the Ranger, which because you have to,
Right.
But we actually all played all 3 classes without having enough time. Was I went and played the Colossus?
Yeah,
because I was like,
Colossus is, I was pretty interested.
I was
in that.
because I was drawn to the Colossus because I play a Titan in Destiny, and I was like, oh, big guy takes a lot of damage and beats the living hell out of things.
Right.
Unfortunately, he doesn't work that well, and it needs some fixing. He's not the most.
I don't know, man. We had a Colossus come in and save ourselves when we were playing in that hard mode battle.
Well,
we were
if you
doing.
get the correct, if you get the right drops, they can do a massive amount of damage.
Right.
But
Yeah.
their ability to heal doesn't exist. They have to get the little health pack things, and there's no way to just get those to drop. And it's a lot harder to keep yourself alive as a Colossus, even though you do have a massively larger health pool.
Right.
Gotcha.
So what are our initial impressions based on the demo that we played of Anthem this weekend?
Yeah, I can't wait to play more is basically how I feel about it. Yeah, it unlocks in like 2 weeks, along with like every other game comes out between like now and the end of March. It's like 7 games I have to play, but this I can see myself spending some serious time with.
Okay, what about you, John?
After playing just the first 2 missions, technically 3, because I played it, the first one on Xbox, and then I played those 2 missions with you, and my immediate response was, I'm getting this. This is a day one, I want to play this game.
Yeah.
Right.
Even though I know there are issues with it, I had enough fun to where I'm like, $60 is totally a legit
Did you guys
price to play
play mouse and keyboard or controller?
I did mouse and keyboard.
Oh,
Controller.
God. How was it?
The flying was awkward until I got used to it. The rest was great.
Okay, because I played on PC with controller, and it was smooth sailing.
Yeah,
100%.
the flying is weird without a controller.
Yeah.
The mouse control feels off because you can tell the entire system was designed for a controller because it tries to center every time you're done moving it, but your mouse, I mean, just stays where it is. It doesn't return to
it
center.
literally was designed for a controller setup during the flying process because it's looking for the it's supposed to zero out and go to you take your thumbs off the analog sticks and it just goes into that one position.
Right.
Except for keyboard and mouse literally cannot do that.
Right. So other than that, it controlled great, and I mean, yeah, the PC version was just gloriously pretty.
It was absolutely
awesome.
Even on lower settings, like Anthem on lower
you
settings.
You were running
still,
on low. I ran it on medium, and then I forced it into high, and it is definitely not an optimized game.
No, not
any
this
stretch.
build. This build was not. They said the one that will be released is much more.
Yeah, and we're going to be able to download those and test them out over the next couple of weeks as well, which I'm super looking forward to because one of the reviews I read of it was that he was running a new 2080, like not the Ti, but the 2080, still ridiculously overpriced, and he's like, even at 1440, I could not reach a just solid 60 frames a second on high. Yeah. Like, it was just like, it was not optimized. I'm like, that's kind of what we knew what we were getting.
Yeah.
That's absolutely true.
Again, it's a Frostbite engine. I mean, I still have a hard time running Battlefield 5 with any kind of integrity. Like, the frame rate is all over the place. So,
okay, to kind of wrap up the prelude real quick, I do want to jump into something kind of comics related. I did read a crap ton of comics this week. Nice. But the two that I want to touch on very briefly lead into each other. Which was Donny Cates. He's one of the big up-and-comers up at Marvel right now. He's a pretty big name. We've talked about some of the stuff that he's been working on, like what he's been working on with Venom. But specifically, I read his trade paperback, which just came out this last week, of Cosmic Ghost Rider. All right, so this is the Ghost Rider that is from an alternate future where Frank Castle died and then went to Mephisto and became Ghost Rider. And it just only gets more ridiculous from there. But basically, this entire trade paperback...
And then also the Silver Surfer for some reason.
Right. He becomes a Herald of Galactus is a thing that happens as well. That is part of the whole thing.
Yeah, that totally makes sense.
Yeah, it happens temporarily. So this particular version of Frank Castle, the Cosmic Ghost Rider, decides that he wants to go back in time and kill Thanos before he becomes the Titan that we all know, because it'll save the universe, right?
Yeah. Would you kill baby Hitler?
But then he finds himself in a situation where he can't do that because he's like, it's too cute. It's wrong to kill an innocent. Also, I had kids. That's wrong to kill a kid. What if I raise this child and make him not this? And basically the entire 6-issue arc of this trade paperback is all the elements of nature in the Marvel Universe saying, what you are doing is fundamentally a bad idea. And everything...
Just stop.
And I talked about this a little bit on Twitter, that everything in this book reads like what we as comic book fans sit around and the shit that we talk about when we're drinking. Like, I don't know, what if Frank Castle became Ghost Rider and then the Silver Surfer and then went and killed Thanos? Like, that's the kind of shit that, like, nerds just sit around at, like, conventions and, like, get drunk and like, argue about.
Yeah.
So on your list of, if we were to raise Thanos from a baby to make him not a fucking psychopath, who would we have raised him? Probably not Frank Castle as Ghost Rider as a Galactic Herald.
Right. So this whole thing...
it's generally probably not the person in charge of any living being ever.
He would be at the top of the not this guy list.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so this is
Aunt May. Let's just go with Aunt May.
Aunt
Much
May would
better
be good.
choice.
This is kind of brilliant because this all leads into this particular Ghost Rider finding his way to our Marvel dimension.
Okay.
So he is now a permanent part of the 616 universe, and as of issue number 1, also written by Donny Cates, is now a member of the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes.
You know, for reasons.
Okay, but
Because
do they have a baby Thanos like on
No,
the
no,
ship?
he returned baby Thanos to Titan for
Okay.
that. But that was a different universe, remember?
Right.
I mean, currently in the Marvel
Okay.
616, Thanos is dead, and that's a big part of what's going on in the Guardians of the Galaxy.
But
right
this
now.
is still Frank Castle Ghost Rider.
It is still Frank. So technically, there are two Frank Castles running around in the Marvel
Okay.
universe right now. One of
Okay.
them is Cosmic Ghost Rider, and one of them is the Punisher that everybody knows and loves.
Gotcha.
And they're like worlds apart. They probably shouldn't run into each other. But it's Marvel, so they're
if
probably going to have
if
babies.
the wackiness of what I just described in Cosmic Ghost Rider appeals to you at all, I can only imagine what he's about to bring to the table with the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Because it's just like such a wacky cast of like misfits, like fucking what's his name, Bill.
Beta Ray Bill.
Beta Ray Bill is now a Guardian of the Galaxy.
It's not Thor.
Yeah.
It's just not. It's alien Thor.
It is like the most ridiculous cast of Guardians of the Galaxy since probably the one that we all know and love watching on the screen.
Yeah.
And the only like person really that's kind of a leftover of that right now is Star-Lord.
Yeah.
He's the one that was like, these are my people. And that was only so they wouldn't get arrested, by the way. There was no reason why they were the Guardians of the Galaxy of the fact they were all about to get arrested. And they said, because you're not a team and you're a bunch of superpowers in this zone, like, we have to arrest you. And Star-Lord went, shit, these are the new Guardians of the Galaxy. I guess that's what we're doing, guys. Is that what we're doing? Yeah, that's what we're doing. All right, let's go.
Let's not go to jail.
He really does bring a lot of levity to it. And as much as I do love my serious comics, my Transmets, my Sandman, all that good stuff,
Yeah.
it felt so refreshing to read a comic that felt like it was being written by somebody who grew up as a fan of comics and just really wants to have fun within the medium of comics.
Yeah. I like it.
So
Yeah, not everything has to be super serial.
exactly. All right, that's everything we have for the Prelude this week. We're going to take a small break. When we come back, we'll be going into level 1 comic book news.
Click in some shit. Click in some shit. At some point, I'm gonna make macros. Level 1 comic book news.
Hey, Adventures, welcome back to the show. If you haven't gotten enough of me ranting about comics, well, let's jump into this week's comic news. So we're going to kick things off talking about the 35th anniversary of the Ghostbusters. That's, if you want to feel old, that's what we're going to be talking about.
Yikes.
Announced this week, obviously, IDW, who has the license for Ghostbusters.
I pick it up from time to time. This is one of those things, like, whenever I see that they're like a new issue 1, they're doing like a story arc, they always just like changing
Sure.
issue 1. And I'm like, and they're like 1 of 6. I'm like, fuck it, I'll pick it up for the next 6 months and read some Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
And I've had some interesting times.
They've been having... they've been
I did the
popular.
Ninja Turtles Ghostbusters crossover. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Huh.
So IDW's got the license. Obviously, the 35th anniversary is right around the corner. They want to celebrate. So what they are doing is in the month of April, there is going to be 4 one-shots, 1 per week, that they are dubbing Spooktaculars. That's what they're called.
Spooktacular.
And these will cover 3 eras of the Ghostbusters crew. And the 4th that they're calling the Next Generation, which is the Extreme Ghostbusters.
Nice.
So,
Are they Ninja Turtles?
so
No, Extreme Ghostbusters. You didn't watch that cartoon?
So
I'm not.
Oh,
let's kind
it's
of break,
good stuff.
So obviously, the first issue at the beginning of April is going to be the Ghostbusters 35th anniversary, just called Ghostbusters, and it's the original team. Nothing's changed. If you watch the movie, you know what you're in for.
Yep.
The second one is going to be the real Ghostbusters. So you watch the cartoon.
Yeah.
This is the Ghostbusters that you're going to be
Slimer's
reading.
helping them for some reason.
Yeah.
Right.
Da-na-na-na-na-na.
Yeah, exactly. Third is going to be the Answer the Call. Right, because they have been doing a couple miniseries based on that particular group.
Okay.
So the newer Ghostbusters movie, and then the last one is going to be Extreme Ghostbusters. So it's going to be a little bit more in line. If you ever watched the Extreme Ghostbusters cartoon, it's their next generation who we hand the.
I mean,
this
yeah,
That happened in the
Obviously,
early
no.
2000s, didn't it?
It was
Okay, yeah.
I think it was mid 90s.
I think it was in the 90s.
It was the 90s.
Were things extreme yet in the
Extreme
90s?
things were definitely
Oh,
starting
definitely
to become
in the
extreme in the
90s.
90s.
Okay.
That's how we got
Like-
Venom and shit. If they were
Yeah,
extreme.
no, 90s were extreme times before anything else.
So like the extreme Doritos, extreme. Like,
yeah.
when it was that thing.
It was. Yeah, it was the beginning of that.
Okay.
The first seeds of Extreme were planted during that time. It was a real strong time for Rob Liefeld.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything was very extreme. There was lots of pouches, that's
muscles
what-
on top
yeah.
of muscles on top of muscles where there
Muscles
shouldn't
had
be
muscles
muscles.
grew muscles.
Yeah, the
themselves.
90s was a weird time for people.
Yeah.
So this is just really cool. I just wanted to kind of briefly talk about it because if you at all love Ghostbusters, this is the time to kind of go out. And you don't have to get all of them because they're all one shot. So pick an era of Ghostbusters that you like. There's the 4 weeks left.
I'll probably pick up. There's 3 of them that I'm interested in,
Yeah, I knew you
and
were
I'm
gonna say
pretty
that.
sure I know which. Everybody knows which one I'm not going to get. Which means it's gonna be the most expensive. Like later on, years down the line,
Probably.
it's gonna be the most expensive because no one wants that Ghostbusters.
Because that's actually how collectors markets work.
yes.
Yep.
All right, so we know that Wolverine proper is now back in the Marvel Universe with Heat Claws for some reason. We won't even get into that right now. And that Old Man Logan is on his way out. They're writing the last stories for Old Man Logan called Dead Man Logan. We found out this week that the last issue of Dead Man Logan, because comics, is going to be Old Man Logan facing off against Wolverine.
Nice.
Okay.
I feel like I saw that movie.
I would like to point this out that since they killed Wolverine, Wolverine has never not been in a comic.
It's very true. It's very true. They
Literally, they killed him, and he's been in a comic book like every
You
month.
can't kill Wolverine.
He was gone for a while, and then Secret Wars happened, and then we shoved Old Man Logan into the reality, and then there we are.
You can't kill.
At that point, they were already doing his backstory stuff with like Vietnam Wolverine.
Yeah,
and
no,
you're
that's
like,
true. They were
yeah,
doing that, weren't they?
remember they were like, we'll just do flashback Wolverine
Look,
because
right.
Wolverine's dead.
Look, if DC did a thing where it's like we're killing Batman and Batman died, there would be like 4 different Batman titles like parallel that are like, but Batman.
Well,
Yeah.
first off, in the history of Superman, because I did just get done reading the history of Superman book. One of the things I don't know why I said referencing the book, considering I literally lived through this and also bought all the comics. When Superman died, like he wasn't around for a while. I think it was like 6 issues or something. It was like the whole funeral for a friend
so
thing.
about half a year.
Like he was gone. Like it was the funeral for Superman. And it was like Batman being drunk, talking about how much he loves being in love with Superman, and that was the whole bit then.
Jerking it off to
And
pictures of this
and
sad
at the
tear
end
coming out
of
his
that,
mask.
at the end of that time, they did take a break from Superman titles. I believe it was maybe it was a 3 to 6 month hiatus. I want to say they actually let the writers not write Superman so that they could figure out how they were going to bring him back, basically.
And guess what they did? They didn't figure out how to bring him back.
It did not turn out well.
No, they came up with a really convoluted, dumb idea.
Basically, this is one of those situations where there's a
Jesus.
narrator. There's they're all sitting in the room and they're like, guys, I figured out how to bring back Superman where nobody's going to get mad. And the
He
narrator
did not figure out how to make Superman come back. And make
it's all
everybody
Arrested
not mad.
Development voice.
Absolutely.
It's just Ron Howard just like narrating your life about how you're wrong.
So yeah, they're going to be possibly killing off Old Man Logan. We don't know, but what they are saying over at Marvel Comics is that this should be the end of Old Man Logan. We're going back to old school Wolverine with Fire Claws now.
Well, we need more Wolverine because we're gonna need him in some movies here in the near future.
Exactly, that is very important. That's very
Why the
important.
Fantastic Four are back.
But over in the world of DC, things are not going as easy as they are for Marvel right now. And it was announced this week that actually DC laid off about 3% of its workforce over
Good
the last
amount.
week.
It's a good
It
amount.
came out to what, like 12 to 14 people? It was a bunch of people, right?
It's like a division.
And
Yeah.
these were not like people in minor positions. This wasn't like
Right.
the janitor. that
This
they
isn't the
fired.
call center like employees just
Yeah.
answering phones. These are creative types.
Yeah, so basically DC kind of came on record and said, hey, we want to get back to our publishing roots. We've got these epic stories with these world-class characters and our brands. We don't want to have to do this. Seriously, guys, we don't want to. But based on what we were trying to do going forward with the company, we need to kind of cut some of the fat, as it were, and make these organizational changes so that we can move in the direction that we want to move in.
I mean, no, we get it. I mean, these things happen. Video game industry does this kind of thing
Oh, they
literally
restructure
every
constantly.
day.
Pretty much every game.
Comic book companies, this is a bit more rare. But generally, these people will go on and have it further their career in, with Marvel or IDW or somebody else.
The moment this news went up, Twitter was, people were blasting out from, Image and Marvel,
Yeah.
like, hey,
Like,
if
just
you,
literally come over
if
here,
you
we
got
got
laid
you.
off, like, let us know, and we'll try and find a spot
Yeah.
for you.
We
So,
have open positions now is
Yeah.
the time.
yeah,
Like,
so,
yeah, well, we'll come take care of you.
Yeah.
so it sucks, but also maybe DC needed a restructure, guys.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Like, when we look at even though DC is killing it in the comic book marketplace right now, and DC, a lot of people are
You
saying
could always be killing it and making more money for even less amount of work.
Could be. And
but
I mean,
also maybe you'll get some people in place that will maybe talk about how to adapt some of your properties to, I don't know, film better.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
not to break into
those weren't the people
entertainment.
that were let go.
Yeah.
That's the Warner Brothers side of it.
That's
And
true.
those people are basically never going to leave.
And that's what I was going to say is like I didn't mention it during the prologue, but I went to see Aquaman, and that was, I mean,
Did James Wan make an Aquaman movie?
It still somehow underwhelmed me, even though it's better than what I've seen before. But it was basically soulless, and I don't know what to say about all of the DC movies except that they're basically soulless.
Yeah.
And hopefully we get some fresh blood that'll write some stuff that adapts better to screen or something.
And a lot of the people that were let go were like, people like like VPs of like sales trade, a lot of consumer marketing people. This could a lot of this could come down to the fact that everybody within the fandom of comics has been saying like, DC, you're really killing it lately. You're doing better than Marvel, and them finally going, okay, so if we're doing better than Marvel, why aren't we doing better than Marvel?
Right.
What is the mistake that is being made?
Because Marvel has this thing called Disney money.
Why are we drowning in billion-dollar Marvel franchises right now if our comics are better?
Right, exactly. And that's a big thing to consider. And those weren't all the people that were let go, but those are some of the higher-end people that were let go. So here's hoping that maybe we'll see kind of a turnaround here soon and see kind of this rise to power for DC, because I think they really deserve it right now. They are writing quality material.
Agreed.
I want more people
Unfortunately,
to be reading.
all right, so this is going to be I've got a naysay for a moment. Unfortunately, the quality material that they are creating will not transfer to film.
Okay.
Yeah, if we're talking about like Bat Metal and stuff like that,
Most of the
that's not gonna be a
storylines that
fucking
are been
movie.
selling like fucking amazingly
Sure. I mean, Batman
will
White Knight
never
is,
be a movie ever.
Sure.
It
White Knight would
cannot
be an incredible movie.
It would be so good.
Oh my god!
But you cannot make that movie unless it's going to be rated R, and guess what? You'll never get from a Batman movie.
Yeah.
Letting it be rated R.
Oh, I know.
They're not going to do it.
That's the rule.
The best Superman stories are generally
But
more
guys,
adult,
we're
and
getting Birds of Prey. Though.
But we're
Aren't
getting
you-
Birds of
aren't
Prey.
you excited about that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for literally anything with Margot Robbie in it, but I mean, my ticket's already bought because Margot Robbie's in it. I don't know what to say. I have no integrity. I know the movie will be bad. Front row center.
All right. Well, that's everything we have for comic book news this week. We're going to take a small break. When we come back, we'll be going into level 2 video game news.
What are you doing? What are you doing over there? Who is smashing something?
Archer.
It's Archer PvPing with.
Archer is PvPing everything.
He's PvEing because it's
Yes.
environment. There's no other players involved. It's just him.
It's,
And,
him versus the environment.
yeah, it's him in boxes and anything that's near him.
Right.
He's being a dick.
We hit the
today.
record button. He's just like, what? The record button's been hit?
He got up here and was being a dick, and I have the cable like on my arm so it just stays away, like
Right.
safety thing. He jumps
beer? Are you
down.
good?
I need a beer. He jumps down and fucking like fat legs the cable. I'm just like, thanks for grabbing my head.
No, he did that on purpose.
And then he came up here and he was about to do it again, and I was like, motherfucker, no, just get down, you
Why
little
can't
shit.
you be like Willow and just chill in your little?
Just sit in your house and
Yeah.
be sad. That's what Willow does.
Why does Archer have 2 and Willow only has?
Well,
one?
actually, they're all Willows.
They're all Willows.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Willow has a condominium.
Does Archer not partake?
We got him one.
One of those is Archer's.
Theoretically, one of them says.
He sometimes goes in one of them, but Willow
uses all 3.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Willow
she
uses
does.
all 3, depending on her mood.
Yeah. She just cycles between them throughout the course of the day. That's what she does.
It's great.
All right. Let's talk about some EA. This is going to be fun.
This is her afternoon cabana.
Yeah.
Afternoon.
Okay, I actually really didn't need this. I have half a beer, but okay, I don't care.
Whatevs.
And we're doing the white noise again. It's really good.
I like white noise.
Yeah. I've never really been a St. Arnold's fan.
Their Pumpkinator was the
First
doorway.
off,
for
pumpkin
them.
beer is disgusting. Should never drink pumpkin beer.
It doesn't really taste like pumpkin. A lot of pumpkin beers do. Pumpkinator doesn't. It tastes like a pumpkin pie, which is very different.
All right, let's do this.
Stop putting pumpkin in beer. It's a hard rule. I'm gonna make a pumpkin style beer or like name it pumpkin something. 0 pumpkin. I'm just gonna name it that so people will buy it when they're like, oh, it's that time of year for pumpkin.
Tony just doesn't like people.
I don't like.
It's decorative gourd season. Everyone partakes.
That's what I'm gonna name it. Decorative gourd.
Decorative
That's the
gourd beer.
perfect name.
It is decorative gourd beer.
Congratulations, we made $1 million.
Right?
Fuck you. Just because we're mad now. Oh yeah, I need to click some shit over here first.
Yeah. Hey man, someone made balls that go on the bottom of a truck so that you see balls when
Truck
they
nuts.
drive away from you.
Truck
They
nuts.
made $1 million.
That is true, they
Yeah.
I feel like decorative gourd beer is a good way to make $1 million.
We can do it.
Seasonal gourd.
Seasonal gourd.
We can just add more hops to that one or
Oh,
something.
yeah.
Level 2 video game news.
Hey, adventurers, welcome back to the show. Okay, so last week we talked about this whole debacle with EA closing down the Star Wars game that was supposed to be like the Uncharted version of Star Wars Uncharted game, basically, that we all really, really wanted, and they closed it, and we're all kind of sad and angry.
I don't remember talking about that last week.
So we talked about the fact they closed the game. We didn't say what it was.
Let's not forget why they canceled it. They canceled it because, guys, single-player games are dead and no one wants them. Didn't you know? I don't know why anyone played Spider-Man.
Yeah, I don't know why Spider-Man won so many fucking awards.
Or The Last of Us, or fucking Bloodborne, or Horizon Zero Dawn, or any of
God of War?
Or God of War, or Resident Evil 2.
You already said God of War.
Yeah. I'm going to say it again. And Resident Evil 2 just came out, and it's selling off the charts. And it
has sold more than
Resident Evil 7, and
which is ridiculous to me.
And it's just a single-player experience, and people are hungry for them. And EA, go to jail.
They just like put their fingers in their ears and they're like, la 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 la
la. I can't put loot boxes in that.
So here's the thing about that, though.
The thing about
that, though, is that for years we've kind of wanted a new Knights of the Old Republic game, and we kind of got one in the MMO, but it doesn't have the feel, right? It's not. It's not me sitting down with my computer having a single-player Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic experience where my unique story is mine.
Right.
I'm not in a hub with 50 other Jedi that are all doing the same thing.
Exactly. It was the Dragon Age Origins or Dragon Age game of Star Wars.
Right.
And that's what you wanted.
Yeah, and you wanted to have that experience. And yes, the second game wasn't great, but you know what? We got the first one, and it was pretty fantastic. And there's still modders, by the way, still working on Knights of the Old Republic too. Saying like, oh, here's all this content that they basically didn't get to put in. We're just going to put it in there and basically make the game they wanted to build because it's all in the code. They just couldn't release it.
They just didn't finish it because EA fucked with them and they couldn't finish the game.
So what we found out...
I mean, imagine that, EA fucking with a company that they bought. Like, that just sounds ridiculous. I've never heard such an accusation from anyone ever.
What's DICE?
And, oh god, that's all I heard in chat today during Anthem. Like, I was watching Anthem stream.
Oh yeah,
and it was people basically just like shitting all over EA, and all the streamers that were enjoying Anthem were basically saying like, "I'm leaving Destiny, I'm going to play Anthem," and stop shitting on BioWare because they're the ones making the game, not EA. EA is the publisher. Learn the difference. I actually almost made the epilogue this week what the difference between a game developer and a publisher is.
Yeah.
But I just couldn't bring myself to do it because I would be so angry.
Yeah, it's an important message.
I mean, it would be literally yelling one sentence for like 30 minutes.
Yes.
Not that BioWare hasn't had its missteps lately with, I mean...
Even their Dragon Age series had missteps.
Yeah, Dragon Age had missteps. The last Dragon Age game
Mass
was
Effect,
not very respectful for its time.
Huge missteps.
Mass Effect Andromeda was a giant disappointment.
Well, the end of Mass Effect 3 was the giant clusterfuck, and
but
then
the
Andromeda
Mass Effect 3
was a
game
broken
itself was
game.
still very good. It's just the ending that was
So the reason I kind of bring all this up is what brings us to the news of the week, and that is some people over at BioWare actually opened up and they were asked point blank, like, so I know this is weird because you guys make the MMO, but are we ever going to get a like single player Knights of the Old Republic experience like we had back in the day? Because like everybody really wants that. And
seriously, I love this response. It's
their answer was like, so basically once a year we ask EA if we can do this, and they tell us no.
Yeah, EA is basically keeps telling them no one wants that, and they're like, stop asking. And they're going like, no, literally, we're asked this every fucking day.
Yeah.
People do want this. Why aren't you listening?
Like every time they like have a board meeting and EA is like, so what are you going to be doing next? BioWare, and they're like, oh, well, we got some Dragon Age stuff in the chamber. Excellent. We love that. Makes a ton of money. Let's go ahead and move forward with that. There's a new Knights of the Old Republic MMO expansion we're thinking about. That also brings in money. That's cheap and easy to make. We like that. So we've heard that people really want the Knights of the Old Republic single-player experience by itself. No MMO.
Make a 3.
Right.
And we want to make a 3. And they're like, nope, can't do that.
This is the games industry.
Not.
We don't do 3s.
We don't do 3s here. That's offensive to people who are 3s. And you're just like, what? The fact that they just get shot down by their publisher, and like, I almost want this to be a Bungie situation. Be like, just get out from under them. Like, just take the Star Wars license and run. Just steal it from them. It's the fucking like Declaration of Independence. Get Nicolas Cage, go steal the Star Wars license, and just go BioWare.
See, that's the problem. Unfortunately, it's not just the KOTOR that they would be having to get the license for. It would be everything Star Wars.
Take Battlefront with you. Please,
yeah, no,
God.
I'm pretty sure the Battlefront players would be like, yeah, cool, we're cool with that. Yeah, we're cool with that. Yeah.
I think we all are looking at this. Yes, Star Wars got fucked royally, but I mean, we're all just very lucky that they got Star Wars and they didn't get Marvel. considering our epilogue.
Yeah, and we will get there. All right.
I think for
But-
Star Wars games, I'm gonna. There's a Star Wars the universe, the whole Star Wars things. I have a subtitle for it. It's called Star Wars. No one's actually happy about this. No matter what movie it is, book it is, comic book, video game, anything that's ever been made about Star Wars, no one's going to be happy.
No one will be pleased.
So here we have a situation in which there was a game that was in development for years. A lot of money and resources have been poured into this game. In fact, one of the writers from Uncharted left to go work on this game. And it gets canceled.
We were stupid excited for it. Like
yeah.
the creator of Uncharted. She came over and went to make this, and we're like, hell yes, Uncharted was
Yeah.
awesome. She did an amazing job. Let her have free reign with Star Wars, and I will eat this shit up.
Yep.
And now I can't have
Now
that.
you
No,
cannot.
it's not
Now
there.
you cannot. Eat
I
that
once
shit up.
once again. There's a game that they teased me the fuck with.
Yep.
They need to quit fucking stroking me on this. All right.
And it's a Star Wars game.
Well,
Like,
just always assume if it's got a Star Wars label on it, you're gonna.
they're
get
like not even
blue
getting you to
balls.
like half mass with this thing.
Yeah.
They're like you're full blown ready for it, and
Yeah.
they're like,
It's
sorry.
the strip club of fucking video game franchises.
So EA
Why would I keep going there? All they do is make my dick hard for 5 minutes, and I can't do anything about it.
So that's what EA is.
I can
like
get
it.
erections for free, EA.
I can
don't
go
need
home
you.
and jerk off for free, and it's allowed. Okay, I can't do it there.
And you're really one glow in the dark condom away from a lightsaber. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I do have glow-in-the-dark condoms.
There
That's
you
the
go.
thing.
Okay, so we have this bad situation in which EA has closed down something that we loved a good chunk into development.
Mm-hmm.
Now, kind of on the opposite end of that coin, we have Nintendo this week, which is a really fascinating story. So Nintendo did a mini direct. They posted a video online.
Yeah,
and they
right,
said,
right up on YouTube.
Yep, they were like, all right, so here's the deal.
I like that idea.
All
It's
of
like,
you.
we're not gonna do this live or anything.
Right.
We're gonna make the thing, and what you just watched 15, 20
Yeah.
minutes of us.
So
explaining some
they
shit.
come out, and remember, this is Nintendo we're talking about, who is always closed-lipped about everything that they work on.
Oh yeah.
Came out and put out a video this week that said, so all of you that were excited for Metroid, we have some bad news. Metroid Prime 4 in its current iteration has been canceled. We went in, it didn't meet our quality expectations, we scrapped it. But on the lighter side, even though you guys are going to have to wait several more years before the next Metroid
Yeah, we're talking
Prime,
probably like 4 to 7 more years.
before it hits, we've gone back and spoken with Retro Studios, who made the first 3 games, and they are the ones who are going to be making the new Metroid Prime going forward.
That's actually whenever they announced Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah.
Is it being made here in Austin?
Yeah.
Is Retro doing this? And they said no. And I went, I don't care. Which I think a lot of the people who played those games, who love the Metroid games, understand that the Prime games were amazing because they were made by the same studio.
Yep.
All together, very lovingly, small-knit community.
They were so cool. God, those games
And
were
that's
cool.
why they worked. And then whenever they're like, we're going to do a 4, but different companies doing it, everyone kind of like, we don't know.
Why though?
Maybe.
Yeah.
You tried that last time, and it was
Yeah,
a
and,
disaster.
then
and
now
we-
that they're saying, "Hey, we're canceling that, and we're going back to the good well," everybody's like, "Yes, this is exactly what we wanted. We wish you'd figured this out 3 or 4 years ago, so the game would be coming out soon."
Right, and we all talked about this outside of the show, that kind of my tinfoil hat theory about this was that I believe at the beginning of the Switch's life cycle, they were working on the Switch. They knew that they had to have a lot of good first-party titles. So they grabbed a group of developers.
I mean, starting with
internally.
a Legend of Zelda game.
Yeah, that's
it's strong, but that is generally not the way Nintendo launches something. That was
Yeah.
kind of an amazing thing that
Yeah.
it did that well.
So we take that premise and they say, all right, so we're about to launch the Switch. We're going to need to make sure that we have first-party support throughout all the years. We need to make sure we have a Mario. We need to make sure we have
Yeah.
a Zelda. We need to make sure blah, blah, blah. Metroid is definitely on the docket. We don't have any Metroid game in the works. So again, this is all my tinfoil hat theory. Nintendo said, all right, group of developers, you work on the next Metroid Prime game. Go. And we'll announce it at E3 and we'll say 3 years from now.
We'll literally just put the word like Metroid.
It was
and,
literally
like, 4.
just a 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just put a big
Right.
blue 4, and
so
everyone knew what it was.
What Nintendo then went and did, and again, this is all hypothetical, this is all my theory, is they went and focused their main teams on making the Switch a success. Let's get it out there. Let's get all these other titles going on. They let the Metroid team just burn and do their thing. Now we are 3 years into the Switch's life cycle. It has not hit max saturation yet, but it is very fucking popular as a console. Nintendo finally walked into the office and said, all right, guys, show me what you've done with Metroid. And what they saw horrified them.
I have a feeling like whenever you brought this theory up, I was like, I imagine they made Switch gimmicks where you can feel the controller do a thing and then you have to do something else. They weed it up. Like, you know, all the Wii gimmicks that were fun for a great long time because it was a new, unique thing. The Switch, I feel like they tried to do things with that. Like, you got to move the screen around to shoot the enemies because they're in the room with you. It's like, nobody wants that in a fucking Prime game. Nobody wants that at all. Like, scrap that shit.
Yeah, and it just feels like the thing is, the Metroid series has done what very few old school franchises have done, and that is it made the jump from the 2D to 3D realm. And that's something I do want to talk about in Epilogue at some point, the kind of the history of this. Because
Castlevania took a while to get that shit remotely
few
good.
games can make that jump.
That's true.
From 2D to 3D the way that Metroid did.
Yeah.
And be so successful. Think about the fact that Nintendo had to eat some crow on this.
Oh, yeah.
That they had to scrap a game 3 years in development and then call Austin and be like, so guys.
We are very sorry. Would you please make this game?
Like, there was probably a lot of ass kissing, a lot of zeros on that paycheck.
How expensive it was to literally just delete 3 years of game development and then call people and say, like, so we have this Nintendo money. Would you like some?
Yeah.
Please. We hope you want some of this Nintendo.
And they're like, well, you gave us good money last time. Add a couple more zeros and we'll do it.
Yeah.
Because they literally got turned down for doing this.
Yeah, no, I hope...
I got turned away. They're like, no,
by the way, no matter what Retro is working on currently, because I know they do work on other Nintendo stuff. They do a lot of that. If Nintendo came in and said, can you put these projects on hold to start working on Metroid? They'd be like, we can, but there's going to be a lot of money involved in that. Like, we are literally changing course.
Fuck other people's contracts up.
We're going to have, like, literally, I'm having a talk with you, and then I'm about to walk out to the floor, have a team meeting. We're going to order some Papa John's and say, all right, guys, so here's the deal.
No one orders Papa John's.
Stop making what you're doing. Stop doing what you're doing.
John's
I'm just
anymore.
Offices order pizza. They don't know where good pizza's from.
Offices,
we know what good pizza is.
Offices definitely do not know where good pizza comes from.
That's true.
But yeah, the idea is like all right, so we're gonna have to order some pizza and have a team meeting and be like, so everybody stop what you're doing because shit's about to get real.
Yeah, those 3 games you're developing, to just throw those on the older hard drive. What do you mean? Well, I'm gonna need you to start doing some concept art.
Yeah. So it's kind of ridiculous, kind of strange, but you know what? Hats off to Nintendo not only for making this decision, but being so fucking candid about it.
Yeah, they were super forward with it.
It only took them 3 years to listen to their fans.
Yeah.
Whenever the fans said, don't do that, give it to the team that we want to give it to.
And it's all very comforting to be like, I told you so, but I mean, they took a chance.
At the same time,
they didn't enjoy the work, and they
I'm really glad that they said,
the right thing.
We're going to change it.
Remember, Nintendo...
That's not the old Nintendo.
Right. Nintendo has a history of doing their own thing and making a lot of money off of it. And I think that was
they also have a history of saying, we're doing our own thing, and we don't care if we're wrong.
Right.
And this is the one time where they said, okay, we were wrong.
Yeah.
And that, to me, is way more impactful. Because it is a property that I enjoy. It is by a company that I enjoy. Making, Prime made by here in Austin is like great.
Yeah,
I want it. I want more of that. But whenever they're like, we're doing it from other people, I was like, I don't want that. And then they said, we're sorry. Holy shit, Nintendo, you made me feel better.
Yeah,
like I know that in maybe 5 to 7 years this will be a good game.
But what that did is that it instilled another one of those. Maybe I didn't think I wanted to Switch, but now I definitely do.
Yeah, again,
that literally was one more reason for me to get a Switch because Nintendo actually said we done fucked up.
Yeah.
That's cool. I love it when companies do that.
Yeah, I saw an advertisement for an indie game today, and the Switch keeps becoming more and more a great platform for indie games. I was watching one today. It looked amazing. I was like, God, that's gorgeous. I can't wait for this indie game to come out. And it was immediately Steam, Switch.
Yeah.
That was it. And I was talking to my buddy Ross the other day, and he's got a Switch, and he's like, I now, every time I'm going to buy an indie game, decide whether or not I want it on the Switch before I pick it up on Steam, because... I mean,
do you want to take this game with you?
Most indie games are better, like pick up, put down, like short play sessions, and that's what my Switch is for.
Yeah, a lot of the cooler stuff. We've been getting a lot of asks for us to review games, upcoming indie games. We have a couple in the pipeline right now that we can't talk about due to NDAs. But we've been getting a lot of those that look really cool, and a lot of them have Switch attached to it.
Yep.
And it's not a gimmicky Switch thing. It's just literally it's a platformer, but we put it on the Switch because it just.
I think it's because
it sells well.
Yeah, it sells very well. The Switch itself is selling very well. It's very easy. Nintendo did this is the one thing they got right was the third-party developer shit. Yeah. They finally made it easy to put your game on their system. And that is why so many indie games are going to this, because it is something that doesn't require massive amounts of resources. So you can do lower like poly games, very simpler stuff, and it's a growing platform that's out there. It's not convoluted as hell to get your thing in their store.
Right.
And people will see it, unlike they will with Steam. So it's a win-win if you're an indie developer to just go with. Honestly, at this point, indie developers should just go with consoles to begin with, because PC gaming is way too hard to navigate as an independent developer.
One of the
PC
one of the things that we've been kind of talking about a lot recently is about the fact that the Steam store is so kind of oversaturated, and there's all these developers.
As you said this sentence, 500 games were uploaded.
Yeah.
But people are starting to move over to the Epic Games Store because they're being given a lot of promises, a lot more
Correct.
exposure.
And free games. They're getting free games.
And actually,
too.
what happened this week, as of today, actually, we found out that Metro Exodus, the upcoming Metro game, is actually going to be only releasing on the Epic Store at first. All right, so there are conflicting headlines here.
Right.
I did a bunch of digging around. I pulled from a couple different sources. What I found is that, yes, Metro Exodus will release first on the Epic Store. And it will only be $50, by the way. Just throw that out there. It's a digital title to download, only $50.
Nice.
All right, this is the thing that we've been asking for a long time. People buy this game.
Yeah, it's like, seriously, give me $10 less because I don't need the physical
Also,
copy.
buy Metro Exodus just because these games are incredible.
Right.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it, because whenever Microsoft showed it off, they're like, by the way, on the Xbox One X, this shit runs at like 4K at 60. And I was like, yes, it does.
Mind you, it was listed on Steam for $59.99. It is straight up $50 on Epic Store.
And they already had pre-order sales.
Yes, there are definitely pre-order sales. So the deal is, this is a temporary thing. This is a matter of, they're going to the Epic Store first. They want to sell at a $50 price point, and maybe in a year or so, we don't know what the exact timeline is, it will get released on Steam at some point. That means that you can wait on your Steam if you pre-ordered it. Oh, by the way, stop pre-ordering digital games.
Stop pre-ordering video games in general. Just knock it off.
I will now pre-order Anthem because I played the VIP demo, thanks to Hector, and I was like, this game is buggy as shit. I don't care. I had enough fun. I'll give $60 to play this.
Yep.
You would pre-order it in the sense that you'd pre-order it because you just wanted to download in the background while you're
I wanted
sleeping.
to be able to. I wanted to be installed and running at exactly whatever time the servers go live.
And let's not forget that the game comes out basically 2 weeks early if you pre-order it or have Origin Access Premier.
Yeah.
For everyone else, it comes out pretty close to the beginning of March. But if you
it's the last weekend of February.
but if you already have it pre-ordered, it comes out February 14th, and you're just on the ground floor and running 2 weeks early.
You know what the problem with that? Overwatch League starts that same day.
That's true.
You know what else?
Okay.
You know the other
You know
problem
what
with
I
that?
can do
It's
with-
fucking Valentine's Day.
So-
I can watch Overwatch League while playing it.
What we are being told
And not
right
having a
now
girlfriend.
from the crew behind Metro Exodus is the reason that the game is going to cost $50 on Epic Store as opposed to the $60 on the Steam Store is because of the way that the revenue split works.
Okay.
So because the team behind Metro is getting more money, they are going to offer it at a lower price point.
Gotcha. Okay, so
See, I love this idea. This is even though I really don't like the Epic Game Store because all that money's going to Tencent. I have a bigger problem with that of this giant corporation behind the scenes manipulating shit.
But if Epic,
I also say fuck you to Steam because Valve is an evil thing too.
if the
Valve's
Epic
not evil.
Store,
They just
Valve
need to
is
fix
evil.
No, Valve has never been evil. They just
Valve
need to fix
is
their shit.
the opposite of evil.
Valve
They're
is
far
evil.
too nice.
They are
Valve is-
chaotic good.
So the problem is with Valve being evil. It's evil in that the good place. Every action you do is evil because of the repercussions of all the actions that you do.
So they're too big, is what you're saying.
They're too big, and everything that they do fucks something else up,
'Cause
and
they
they
can't
keep
roll
bumbling
over without
around.
squishing
Yeah,
something.
that's the problem we've been talking about with Valve for so long is because they are so lenient about their game policies. That's why we get
'Cause
5
they have
million
zero
games
game
a day.
policy.
Well, let's never forget, and people are always saying, like,
Never
oh,
forget.
Steam's too big, Steam's too big, you can't get what you want. Of course you can get what you want. There's a fucking search bar. If you know what you're looking for, and you type it into Steam, Steam will find it for
Absolutely,
you, and you can buy
I
it.
absolutely bought you a 99-cent hentai card game.
Yes, you did, and you knew exactly what you were looking for. However, if you were like, I don't know what game I want to buy today, let me look through these indie games, you would die
I have a
horrible
great
old
game
man
title.
death.
I have a great game title because this is gonna be great for the search bar because the search bar is supposed to be for like you're actually searching for the name of something, not a genre or something.
Right.
Right.
So my game title is going to be cheap hentai game. And that's how it's going to sell, because people think it's going to be a search bar, and you're like, oh, show me all the cheap hentai games.
But it will
it's not
only
like
be
that. It will only pull up
No,
the
this
one
is
game.
cheap hentai game. The game.
All right, that's everything we have for video game news this week. We're going to take a small break. When we come back, we'll be going into level 3 entertainment news.
I still have that game installed.
You've got to review it.
At this point, I think you have to review.
You have to
Yeah,
review
I
it.
probably should. Oh Lord, I don't think I want to.
Oh, dude. Oh, so I need to figure out what if you get like a Xbox pre-order or whatever. I'm gonna play it on PC though.
Yeah.
I decided I'm gonna do it on PC.
Yeah, might
Yeah.
as well, right? We
Thinking
can,
about doing day 1.
yeah, we can roll as a squad. Well, we got to be careful with day one because we saw what happened in demo day one.
Yeah, that's true.
But that weekend for sure. Because that's a long weekend for us. We have that Monday off.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No. So.
February like 16th or 17th or something. Cool.
Yeah, no, that's what I need to figure out, because it's all right. Do I get Steam Origin access, but I don't get the copy of the game, but I just get to have access to all the games, or do I just get $60 and hopefully that's the one that lets it go live on Friday or on the
Right.
14th?
And in my opinion, there's no reason at all not to do the Origin access thing.
See, it's $15 a month for games I don't play.
Right, so $15 a month. Let's say you play Anthem for like 2 months, and then you decide, the end game, I don't care. It's $30,
Yeah.
and then you're done playing the game. And that's
But
where
what
I'm
happens
coming
if like
from.
6 months from now I'm like,
well, if
all
you-
of y'all
if
will be
you-
like, hey, do you want to play Anthem again? And be like, I've been paying for Anthem, this game I don't fucking play at all.
But you have all the
this
other
entire
games,
time.
and then, you know what? They have a pretty big library of games.
They do. I would rather. This is something my internal debate has been. Are you going outside with them?
No, I guess we'll stay and stream while they're smoking.
Okay. This has been my debate. Like, do I want to pay $30 for this game because I'll know all of y'all will get bored after 2 months.
Probably,
And I
unless it's awesome.
And I hardcore games.
Yeah.
Which means I buy one game and I play the motherfucking hell out of
Well,
that
I mean,
game.
you saw what I did with Monster Hunter. I'm thinking this might be something like that if it's as good as I want it to be. And that's, 40 hours in the first weekend or
Yeah.
something like that.
No, then that's the problem. Like, I'm already planning on. I need to get a how to watch Overwatch like beginner's video.
Oh, okay.
So I can send that to her because she likes baseball and stuff.
Oh, sure.
She likes sports stuff. And
Oh, you're trying to get her into esports.
trying to get her to watch Overwatch League, and I'm like, it's like a traditional sports game, but way the fuck faster, way the fuck more complicated, and you have no idea what you're walking into.
I think the best thing would be have her play it.
She doesn't play video games really.
all?
Like, she just wants to play like Lego Harry Potter and stuff.
Okay, sure.
But she likes to watch baseball. I'm like, once you understand how Overwatch works, it's very easy to follow like a competitive game.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, and that's why I suggested having her play it, because the best way to learn what's happening on screen is by playing it yourself and going, "Oh, okay, wow, that was really fast," or "That was a really great shot." I mean, that's how I would get someone into it. But if they don't want to play, it would
There's
be
a
very
couple-
hard to teach them how to watch.
There's a couple beginner videos that say like how to watch Overwatch like competitively that I'm gonna watch and then see if like one's good and be like, okay, just watch this, and I will because I played Overwatch like in the beta and I was like, not for me because this is not a first person shooter,
Right.
So I was like, I was coming from Halo, which is I
Right.
shoot the thing, it's dead, not I shoot the thing, why is he over there now? Like,
He just jumped across the screen and murdered my friend. Oh,
like,
fuck.
this game makes no sense now. Like, I didn't get that, and then once I watched Overwatch League, I was like, okay, I get it. Oh, now I totally get it. Now I can play this game, and it makes complete sense,
Right.
and I understand the maps without having to actually learn the maps.
We went through this a few times with a really good friend of mine, Erin. She, not James's Erin, another Erin that I know.
Ross's Aaron.
Yes, Ross's Erin. She is super gracious whenever we do stuff like this. We'll be watching like a weekend of like Overwatch finals, or she comes with us when we throw like a big Dota TI party.
Yeah.
And she's never played these games. Not really. Not like deep dived into them, but she's familiar enough with them to sit there and watch it with us and be impressed by when stuff happens. But it was a process. It took place over time. And we made sure to make it as social an event as possible so that we're all talking and eating and like there's
Yeah, like whenever we
camaraderie.
go watch it up at Pinballs.
Exactly.
See, that's why I brought it to
There's
her.
a reason to be excited.
Yeah, I brought it up to her because she's like, I like going to pinballs. And I'm like, well, I will be going there generally about once a week for like the next year because that's how long the fucking seasons last.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, they just don't end. They're
Yeah.
still going on right now. It's about to start again.
Is it always on Fridays?
No, so it's whenever the Outlaws are playing, and that depends
that's
on.
right.
But because there's more teams and now less games, They're not playing every single team every
Week.
every quarter.
Gotcha.
So since it's divided into 4 quarters,
Right. So you may only be up there like once, like 2 or 3 times for the whole season.
Yeah, and because they're not going to be going against all 28 teams,
Right.
Which would have been way too. They literally added
they would have been
like
insane.
6 more teams to an already full fucking roster.
Yeah, and they were already on like a really wicked schedule to begin with. I mean, last season they were playing.
And the fact they were
we had
having to-
teams play like twice in a day.
Yeah, no, the fact that like unless you got 3 wins, you could most games went to 5 games.
Yeah.
and you're just like, this is taking too fucking long.
Yeah.
like I get that you're going to 5 because you want to give everybody a fucking even
'Cause
chance, but
a
god
5-game
damn.
stretch is like hour and a half minimum and could be like 2+ hours easily.
And then you're doing that for 3 teams.
Yeah.
Sorry, 6 teams in total.
Yeah.
Every day for 1 quarter where you have to play against every team at least once.
Right.
And then you have to do it again 4 times. That was I was exhausted watching this shit by the end of it. I was
Yeah.
like, I'm tired of doing this. This is
Even only watching the Outlaws.
yeah, no,
games.
watching the Outlaws games and a couple of other ones. Watching those got to the point where it started before baseball started and like ended after baseball ended. It was so fucking long.
When your season is longer than baseball, you should adjust what you're doing.
Yeah, no, baseball takes way less time to play than this does. So I need to find a way to like introduce her to Overwatch and be like, by the way, I get that you're from like Boston, but do not support Boston.
Okay, so show her like 1 game of Dota, and then when she runs away in disgust, show her Overwatch, and she's like, "That's
Oh,
way
that's good.
better.
That's way fun,
That's
yeah."
way better."
Well, the only thing's like she kind of commented because like, okay, I was like, I think because I told her it's like February 14th or 15th whenever it starts.
Yeah.
And she's like, she found it very ironic that a video games tournament series starts on Valentine's Day.
It's also the
because
day
the guys have nothing else better to do.
Speaking of the most romantic movie to take your girlfriend to, it's also the day Alita Battle Angel comes out.
We still have to go. We
still need to go do that
I need to
thing.
get tickets. I think I can spend an extra 20. I can't buy anybody else's ticket. I can spend like
No,
25
that's fine.
online.
Should we do it? Well, we should probably try and do it on
fir-
Friday.
The first was the one that we all had available.
We can do it this weekend. Next weekend would be pretty easy.
Which she was available on the first.
Oh, okay, so
Which I think is
that's this weekend.
That's this weekend,
Yeah.
and not 5 o'clock like the 7 o'clock one. I think.
but like on a Friday.
Yeah, like
That-
Friday, like 7 p.m.
That works for me.
lets all of us get done with work.
Yeah, no, I'm,
Like,
I'm
maybe
busy
even
Saturday,
go home for an
but
hour
that
or so.
Friday is good for me.
And I don't like. I need to tell her like because honestly, I mean, I walked my tab at the bar this weekend.
Oh, no,
Weirdly, only $28 though, so that was good.
Okay.
I had to pay Lash for stuff,
Yep.
which also
Trees.
like you're like, this one melt your face. No, this one's like,
Yeah.
I was gone. Trying to throw axes.
Oh, yeah.
Like I don't know how we were doing that good because we were fucked up.
Yep. I was in dire straits. No lie.
Yeah, no, that new cartridge is just like. And then I came home. I had to figure. I was like, all right, I need to go. My friends are in their hotel downtown. I have to because I had a fucking inch of mud on the bottom of my shoes.
Oh yeah.
That's where I was like, I can't go in your house.
No, it got
because
bad.
I'm super high and I can't figure out how to not have mud on my shoes.
Me and after everyone left, it was just me and Ron there, and we spent like an hour cleaning my house out of just like leaves and mud.
Yeah,
and
no,
everything.
I felt really bad. Like,
No, it's. I mean, if you have a party like that and it rains, I mean, I know it's gonna happen. We just, you just have to deal with it.
yeah. But it got to the point where like I was like, okay, I have a graphics card in my car that I need to do something with. That I didn't.
I was
plan
wondering if you got that. I'm glad you.
Yeah, I
did.
was like, I didn't plan on getting this when I left. So fuck. Okay, I can't take a graphics card and leave it in a car downtown.
Right.
Even though I can put it underneath something just in case because this is a video card. I don't want to fucking have my car broken into.
Yeah.
And then it was like, okay, so I have to go to the house. So I have to drive over here. And like, it took me 30 minutes here. It took me an hour to find parking. I was.
Yeah.
By the time I found parking, I was fine.
That was an ordeal for sure.
It's a very arduous day.
Good, made it into the chat, huh?
Yeah, Gouda showed up.
Yeah, it's been listening to not much of our random how our weekend went. But we were thinking that Battle Angel Alita on the 1st. is what we're gonna do.
That's this Friday.
Yeah, this Friday.
Not
I
the
need to-
movie, the interactive.
Yeah, the interactive thing.
Mentally trouble. You've heard of
Wait,
this
the thing that
already.
costs all the money to go to.
It's
Is it-
$25
is
to
it
do.
$25?
It's
Yeah.
not a. It's not a puzzle experience thing,
No,
but
from-
it is a puzzle experience.
From what I
thing.
understand, they basically just built out the sets they already had up to make them functional, like spaces for like a bar and stuff like that. And you can just like interactively walk through parts.
Yeah,
of
they have
the
they have
movie.
actors portraying people in the city. Like they continued on there, like all the extras are still getting paid to be extras longer.
Yeah. Which is a very troublemaker thing to do.
And
So
there,
that
one
sounds
thing
really
the other
cool.
said is there is actually like things to go and solve, and there's a mystery that you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah,
but
and-
you're not locked into it. You can literally wander around
Right.
this entire environment that is this
Yeah.
city.
No, and I'm super into the movie. I can't wait to see it. So
I
I'd be down
love the
to do
comics. I did.
I'm gonna go pee before we start this up.
All right.
this. Do it. Is there a trash can over here? Oh, sure.
So Gouda popped in, man. It's been a hot minute. You missed out on the
What up,
the
Gouda
ranting
Pop?
we've been all the ranting we've been talking about for video game stuff.
Is it 9:00?
Almost.
Almost, not yet.
I was gonna keep going there. Well, we're gonna be in the middle of the show whenever
Yeah.
it's time to feed her.
What about you, Gouda? Anything new? Been playing anything new? Been having any good time? I don't know.
Anthem.
I've been playing fucking Anthem.
Yeah.
I was surprised at how much I enjoyed Anthem.
Isn't it a lot of fun?
It is.
I had a really good time with it.
Yeah.
Once you finish that first mission and you realize that you can swap out a couple of your abilities with a bunch of different stuff,
Yeah.
and you're like, "Whoa, okay, I think I see where this is going." And I was hoping that BioWare would give us a lot of customization because all we were really seeing with the videos and stuff was like kind of an Overwatch set of characters. Like you had your one javelin and he has 3 abilities, and I was like, it's only like 4 different javelins, so this seems like it could get really generic really
Yeah.
fast. But when I realized how much customization and how much like build like differentiation you can have with each individual javelin, I was like, whoa, okay, yeah, we got some
by
stuff
the
here.
way, Gouda, I never mentioned it, but apparently one of my relatives worked on Red Dead Redemption 2. So if that makes you happy, that's a thing that apparently happened that I found out.
Oh, so Anthem demo. I played it the first level on Xbox, and I put it on just normal because I just want to see what the game was like. Then I get on and finally figure out how to get all the game streaming stuff together with James.
Yeah.
We played through the first mission, breeze through it because someone set that shit to easy.
I didn't know what I was doing.
The menus are weird. They're gonna take some
he's-
getting used
no,
to.
he said, like, James said it easy, and I was like, all right. And then like he got booted out, and we had to like restart or whatever. And I was able to do it, and I was like, he's like, this is so much. I was like, yeah, I put it on fucking hard so we can actually get good drops. I was like, I'm refusing to do this shit easy mode. Good drops happen the harder you play.
Yeah, and you have to learn about combos all of a sudden, and there's all that going on.
And they didn't explain anything. Like he's like, "How do you fly?" And I'm like, "Good thing you asked because it took me halfway through the first mission to figure that out."
No one. Okay,
never
the first
explained
mission
it.
I jumped into, it was me and 3 other dudes, and we all literally just walk off the platform and start running because none of us know how to fly.
Yeah.
And we're like, one of us, like everyone's double jumping and just kind of digging around, and all of a sudden it's like space shift, and I go. Poof, and everyone's like, "How did you do that?"
Yeah, no, it's on the controller. It's double clicking the right or left analog stick.
Oh, okay.
It's so smooth.
Yeah.
All right.
And if you can jump, you can double jump before you do that, get extra height, and then then go up. Because that's the first thing I did was learn how to double jump, and I was like, I love me some double jump. And
yeah.
some Destiny,
Yeah.
double jump and float.
You're Iron Man. You better be able to double jump.
All right, let me move something.
Yeah.
Let me find the mouse. I wish there's like a mode where I can just make the mouse cursor like the size of the screen sometimes. Where's that? Oh, there it is.
Yeah, my last job before the one I have now, I had 3 screens and a very small mouse, and I had to find an app that was literally like
yeah, the little
a ping for your mouse.
Yeah.
It was like you like hit a hotkey and your mouse will do like a radar boom. Like just so you find it on the screen.
back when we were working at HP, I had that because I had like four or five monitors hooked up at one point because I was like, because every time we'd get more monitors, they're just sitting there like, I'm just gonna keep plugging these in so I can see what happens.
I think I maxed out at 5 at one point.
I'm gonna be fucking Hugh Jackman in Swordfish up in this bitch.
No, yes, no.
It's just like 7 monitors and they're all doing a little swirly thing. I love it.
Yeah, no, it was awesome having that many monitors. And now I play on one. I was like, what are you doing? Like, I got to alt tab, so like hold the fuck up.
Oh, hang on, someone's messaging me. I got alt tab.
I can't see whenever I do live stream. I was like, I can't see that. I don't know what's happening. All right, ready?
Ready.
Level 3 entertainment news.
Hey, Adventures, welcome back to the show. I know that we just came out of video games, but we do have something video game adjacent to talk about. It was announced this week that Netflix is developing a Resident Evil TV series.
Ooh.
So
do we know who's working on it?
We don't know all the people that are behind it right now. There is a German production and distribution company that did work on the movies.
Okay.
That's going to be working on this, but we are not doing anything in terms of making this movie adjacent or combining it with those.
Okay.
This is
That's my biggest thing I don't fucking want.
Yeah.
Don't have anything to don't Mila Jovovich this shit. I don't want that. No one wants that.
And that's
Stop
what I was
it.
wondering. Is this more Anderson bullshit or are we
No.
get,
As far as we know, he's nowhere near this project.
Okay.
So this is just going to be where
He's too busy fucking over Monster Hunter.
That is true.
That
He
is
is
true.
absolutely too
He's
busy.
100% busy doing
He Mila
Monster Hunter.
Jovovich the fuck out of Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm one of those people that while I didn't see the last movie, I saw all of them except for the last one.
So what do we have here? We have Netflix with a Witcher TV show and a Resident Evil TV show.
Yep.
All right, Netflix, let's see what you got, right? Because, I mean, we haven't seen any of it yet.
Right.
We don't know if their video game TV is going to be any good, but we hope it is.
We hope it is because
Yeah, I don't
every
know.
time a new video game adaptation comes out, we really hope that it's going to be good.
And if any company was just going to throw around money to see if this is worth the risk that this video game TV, it was going to be Netflix.
Yeah.
So I'm happy that they're doing it.
Honestly-
Maybe The Witcher will be good enough that they'll be like, so why don't we just pony up
I
like
hope
twice
so.
the amount of money to
All
make a
right.
cyberpunk
So
show?
y'all are all
Yes.
excited about this live action aspect. I would much rather they went to the animation team here in Austin and said y'all did really good with Castlevania, but here's Resident Evil.
Well, they might be able to still.
Yeah.
I mean, I would rather have it animated. I think it would look better.
Well, right now,
play
they're,
better.
they're in the middle of
and-
Devil May Cry right now.
Yeah.
Actually, no, they're not. Nope. The team that made Castlevania, the actual animation studio, is not making
Oh, the Devil May Cry?
Devil May Cry.
Interesting.
The producer is producing Devil May Cry.
I can
so you're
understand
getting the
the
same
animation
person.
being
You're getting the
different.
same person like writing it, or not even writing it, just producing it.
Yeah.
Completely different writers, completely different animators, completely different studios are making it. I found this out because I do have a friend, or we have a friend that works at Powerhouse Animation, and I was like, "Holy shit, you're also working on Devil May Cry! This is fucking amazing. How did you keep this secret?" And he's like, "Yeah, we're not doing that."
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah, I knew he had to break down. He's like, "Yeah, no, that is like literally another country is doing that. That is not
crazy.
being done." So my opinion Devil May Cry went way the fuck down because Powerhouse isn't doing that, and I would rather Powerhouse do Resident Evil.
Yeah, I
in
mean,
my opinion.
Yeah, and we'll find out how it is. I mean, I loved Castlevania.
Yeah.
Castlevania was
I
great.
mean, Adi Shankar is still working on it, and he loves the franchise, so I have faith in him. Kind of moving on from Resident Evil at Netflix, it was kind of a sad year for horror in the fact that we found out just a couple weeks ago that Channel Zero has been canceled.
yeah,
right?
what the fuck?
But as of this week, we did find out that Nick Anacosta, who is the kind of creator and producer and did all the things Channel Zero related, actually just launched a new production banner as of this week.
Okay.
So he, of course, had a lot of other experience. He worked on NBC's Hannibal. He actually penned Guillermo del Toro's Antlers. That's about to come out, I believe, is what I think it's about to come out.
Okay, so we don't know. I mean, it's everyone's Guillermo
yeah.
Toro, so it's going to be weird and fun.
Right, but he's the one kind of working on that. But he now, I guess, had enough money, had enough fame or infamy, as it were, and he said, all right, so Channel Zero got scrapped. That sucks. I'm really upset about it. So now what I'm going to go ahead and do is do my own production banner. Expect that it's going to be a lot of like thrillers, high-end dramas, horror. This is my wheelhouse that I like to work in.
Yeah,
and
that sounds fun.
and that's what I want to do. And honestly, if Channel Zero's any indication of what he can do with his own production company, fucking bring it on at this point.
Yeah, it sucks to see Channel Zero go. It had a good run, but Sci-Fi likes to cancel shit.
Yeah, Sci-Fi loves to cancel.
But it also doesn't mean that Channel Zero is gone, and that's my hope.
Honestly, I kind of want Channel Zero to be gone. Like, I want there to be this myth on the internet that someone has extra, like, a new season that was hidden or something.
I love the idea of someone being forced off of a project and then using that momentum to develop something completely new.
Mm-hmm. That Kojima factor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's the reason this sounds actually more exciting to me than getting just another season of, you know.
Yeah, I mean, because he was restricted really by sci-fi content and sci-fi budget.
Yeah,
what happens when you take the
also, you can't show a lot of things because you are on Prime cable channel.
Yeah.
You can't say fuck. You can't show people being who they really would be as humans.
Yeah. So what happens when you kind of take the kid's gloves off of him?
Yeah.
And it can work out for better or worse. I mean, Hector, I know you and I were talking recently about Kojima and his whole thing with PT.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
like,
holy crap.
Would PT is PT going to be the thing that he's most well known for because it's such an urban legend at this point, right?
Well, we'll find out when we see Death Stranding, right? That could be another thing.
I mean,
of, well,
I'm pretty sure Metal Gear Solid's thing he'll be most known for.
Well, we could have.
I don't know, man.
We could have just gotten another Silent Hill game. Well, another Silent Hill game. It obviously wasn't that.
Yeah.
But instead, we get Death Stranding and whatever the fuck that's going to be.
Yeah. But I mean, that's one of those.
It's a
weird,
walking simulator.
That's one of those.
How has
weird
people not
things
figured this out?
That Kojima's like having his own creative control could either be the greatest possible thing or the worst possible thing to ever happen.
Yeah, and sometimes it's both at the same time. Look at Metal Gear Solid 3.
Yeah, I mean that's the way that whole thing went down.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't have Guillermo del Toro egging him on to do really weird shit.
No, and so it's only going to get better.
Because every time, like, so that's the one reason why I'm actually kind of hopeful for Death Stranding.
Yeah.
Is because you got Kojima going and being like, I'm going to Kojima the fuck out of a story,
Mm-hmm.
and you have Guillermo del Toro being like, I'm an actual writer director. I'm going to fix this. I'm going to make this where people can understand what the fuck is going on and enjoyable.
I feel like the better.
Like, yes, he's there to like pump the brakes.
I don't think so. I think the better impression of Guillermo del Toro is like, oh, that's cool, but no one's fucking a fish. I feel like someone should be fucking a fish right now. You can do better, Kojima.
By the way, the new studio name that Nick Anacostia came up with is Eat the Cat is the name.
Nice.
So that's going to have a really fun logo, I think.
Wow.
I wonder if they're going to remake Alf.
Oh, they could!
Ooh, they could.
Yeah. Also, don't remake Alf. That was, if you know the history of Alf, you should know that like our enjoyment of that was like the opposite of what the creation of that thing was.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It was the most painful, annoying series in the history of humanity, and people ate that shit up.
So a lot of times we talk about things that are kind of super up and coming projects that we won't see for another 6 months to a year, all that good
At
stuff.
least.
Yeah.
Sometimes literally never see. We've talked about that a lot.
I did want to take a minute as we wrap up entertainment news for the week and talk about something that's actually coming out next month.
Yeah.
All right. In fact, should be February 1st, so like right around the corner.
So like tomorrow?
So like yeah,
it's
right
like by the
around
time
corner.
this episode goes up, it'll be like actually that day.
Yeah.
So there was about a month or so ago, I believe, a 6-part anthology of horror that was released over in HBO Asia. We knew nothing about it. We knew the concept, right? It was called Folklore, and that it took place across like multiple like Asian countries, and that basically each episode of the anthology took a different piece of folklore from that area, so India or Japan or China or something, and made an hour-long episode specifically dedicated to that. We didn't know if we were going to see it here in the States, aside from like maybe at some point HBO Go will put it up, or
Yeah,
maybe,
I figured that like HBO Go would be like, okay,
Yeah.
well, it's done the rest of the world thing.
Why would
we'll
we
unlock
not
it for
stream
everybody
to the
else.
rest of the world? Yeah.
Yeah,
Once
so,
we do the subtitling.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that there had to be subtitling involved, and honestly, we
That shit costs money,
we as
though.
Americans don't like to read, so we don't really like subtitled things. We're afraid of them. Words on the screen scare us, and
You're gonna make me
you know,
read during
Okay,
my
first off,
movie?
yeah.
Words are for dumb people. All right.
So yeah, there is going to be. This is going to be getting released on February 1st. It will be on HBO Now, HBO Go, HBO On Demand, and any of their partner
All the
streaming
various
platforms.
names for the same fucking
Yeah.
service.
Yep.
And yes, all 6 episodes of Folklore are coming out right around the corner.
Fuck yes. I've been, ever since Haunting of Hill House, I've been waiting for some really good, like, horror.
And this is one of those things that
You
I
don't
didn't
have to wait
even...
much longer for more Sabrina.
That's true.
This is something I didn't even know until I read about it. Because I literally, until today, had no idea this exists.
Yeah, because this isn't things that would hit like American news markets,
Right.
Because we don't generally pay attention to anthology horror out of China.
Right.
We don't usually pay attention to horror from other countries. That's why so many
That
other
is a
movies...
huge
Yeah.
problem, by the way.
Yeah,
We need to
because so
fix
many other
that.
movies just blow our
Like
socks off. when they
Spanish
come out.
horror is like disturbing as fuck.
Dude, the French New Wave horror like 10 years ago was just freaking
Japanese
everyone
body
out.
horror, fuck.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
We are giant horror fans here, by the way.
We've
So-
seen a few horror movies.
Right, but that's what I love so much about this concept of this folklore thing, and the fact that they have these directors from these particular countries doing a folklore horror movie based on the country they're from. Like they can get like with HBO like money and like just go and do what the fuck ever. This might be some of the most disturbing shit that I've probably seen since I don't know, maybe some of those episodes of God, what the fuck was the Showtime show? Masters of Horror.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it was on show, I was pretty sure you were going to talk about Masters of Horror, and that was on Showtime, not
Yeah.
HBO, and they actually made an episode they couldn't air.
Yeah.
Dario Argento is
He would make an episode that couldn't be aired.
Yeah, he
Yep.
actually made an episode that was so gorific and violent that Showtime went, yeah, we can't do that.
Yeah.
Like, we had to wait till the
you-
DVD release to actually see it.
Yeah, if you buy the box set, like there's a couple that are listed in there as like never aired, and they weren't never aired because the show was canceled. It was never aired because
we can't show that.
We can't show that. Like, and the thing is that Masters of Horror is such a great blend. It's an anthology horror series, and if you've never seen it, please God, go buy Masters of Horror. I know it's only on DVD, I believe. No, is it on Blu-ray now?
I have a couple Blu-ray copies.
Is it that old, or is it?
No, it's just that old.
It was just that low budget.
It was it's
No,
not
it's
that low
definitely not low budget.
It's not that it was that low budget. Is Showtime did make a really cool DVD box set for it. Then they kind of said nobody's interested in this, so they did release it on Blu-ray, and it went to like the dollar bin Blu-ray stuff where you get 2 episodes at a time, and that's where I got like half of it, and it was
Yeah.
stupid cheap, but it's on Blu-ray.
Yeah, just
and
go on
you're not getting
Amazon.
like super extra features.
Yeah.
You had to buy the individual or
Yeah.
get the super box set to get all the
If
extra
you
bonus
want
stuff.
if you know what, if you have any interest in Masters of Horror, go look it up on Amazon. I'm pretty sure you can buy like the single or dual episodes for like $1 or $2. Look for the one entitled Cigarette Burns. I know we've talked about this several times on the show. Specifically get that one, and if you loved that one, get the fucking rest of them.
Gotcha.
So Cigarette Burns is probably one of my
In
favorite
fact, after the
horror-
show, I'll just let you borrow some of them.
Yeah.
They're in
There
my
you go.
room.
Yeah, like I like it is probably by far one of my favorite horror stories of all time. But kind of go back on topic here and wrap this whole thing up. I love this concept of this folklore, really diving into this idea of learning about other cultures' folklore and what they consider horror. Because you know what? I've been inundated with like white dude horror my entire life. I'm used to the slashers. There's a reason why I got drawn to like Japanese body horror at one point, or started watching Spanish horror, because it brought different elements, things I'd never seen before.
Yeah.
And it's not just about like the thing in the darkness. It's not just because we have like a Baba Yaga or something.
Right.
There are so many more facets, these legends that exist in other cultures that we as Americans never think about.
Yeah,
you know?
and it's amazing how creative different cultures get when it comes to scaring each other. Because people, especially horror fans like us, we get used to it. It's like a comedian with jokes. It's like there's not a joke that I hear that I don't know how this ends.
Right.
I get it, and you feel that way after a certain point with horror. And as soon as you delve into the horror from another culture, you're like, I have not heard this joke.
Yeah.
I have not seen this.
Yeah, no. The one that like this is just a weird memory that I should probably edit out of the show whenever you're done saying it. But whenever I was first starting working at tech companies, it was late at night and we were like looking up different like folklore from different places because Wikipedia was a thing and we were really bored in the middle of the night. And someone found this African folklore myth from like northeastern Africa about this ghost monster that comes in the night and cuts your dick off, but but he only does it if you say his name. So you can never say this name, but to tell the story about the monster that comes and cuts your dick off.
Wow.
And, like we were just like, what the fuck is okay? This is amazing, but weird as hell.
Yeah, this premise needs work, but I love it.
And just remember, as weird as you think that is, people look at our folklore and be like, those fucking white people are fucking crazy.
Like, they're
man."
fucking
Like,
scared of their neighbors. Why are their neighbors wearing masks?
I don't know. I
Fuck.
watched a lot of trailers recently, and my belief is over the last 7 years, from 7 years like up until like now, all horror is going to children are terrifying and should be just burned alive. Never trust children.
Or
Hereditary.
that's just Tony's opinion about society.
No. It says that because I watched a trailer from the creators of Hereditary today.
The hole in the ground.
Yeah,
or
the
something
hole in the
like that?
ground.
Yeah.
And it's done by A24, and the entire premise of that trailer is don't trust children. Children are terrifying.
Yeah. I mean, we all saw the trailer for Pet Cemetery already, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Again, what are you doing there? Well, don't trust
children.
Don't trust children.
Or dirt roads next to your house.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, that's everything we have for entertainment news this week. We're going to take a small break. When we come back, we'll be going into our final segment, the epilogue.
No, I didn't realize the Pet Cemetery trailer came up.
Ooh.
I haven't watched it.
I haven't been.
And I've
been trying to not watch
familiar
movies.
with the trailer, with the movie, the old movie.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Two is
there's-
actually scarier.
But the first movie has the whole thing with like the semis going like 100 miles an hour down the freeway. So we're all sitting there in the theater. I forget what I went to watch. I went to watch a movie with some friends recently, and we're all right there, and it's just woods, and I'm like, okay, woods, trailers going on. Okay, people moving into a house. Okay, people moving into a house. Obviously, from the theme, it's a horror movie. You can already tell at this point, just musical cues and camera angles, and
There's a little bit of doon going on.
and they're all showing up in their house with like the strings in the background, and then you see this like 18-wheeler barrel down this dirt road next to their house at like 100 miles an hour. I was like, Pet Cemetery.
Yep, that's what it is.
It's like, that's what's happening. And I said that, and then like we get like another 45 seconds into the trailer before it says Pet Cemetery, and they're like, "What the fuck, dude? How did you know?"
You know.
It's like if you didn't see the movie,
Like, if you read or saw Pet Cemetery growing up, you know what Pet Cemetery is.
Yeah.
There's no. I mean, I'm really happy that they're redoing it and like bringing it to a new audience, but like, much like it, there's only so much you can do. Be like, no, this is 4 kids like going down the sewer with a clown that's trying to murder them.
Yep.
You can make it cooler and different, but eventually you get to the point where you're like, it's Stephen King. We know what the fuck's happening.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump in and do this.
Let's do it.
Let's get sassy.
Everybody got drinks?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Epilogue.
Hey, adventurers, welcome back to the show. This is our epilogue. It's our main talking point for the podcast. Sometimes related to the news, sometimes not. This is another one of my for funsies. This has been sitting on my back burner for a little while.
We have way too many of those.
We've been doing a lot of news-specific ones
Yeah,
for a long time.
so we keep coming with fun ideas that we never get around to actually talking
I
about.
know. And so
Like, it's making me a little bit sad.
This is pulling from the for funsies hat. You know, there isn't a news article related to this. This is something I wanted us to discuss as a panel. And the main question that's being asked today is, why are comic book games so bad? And before people start getting their fucking like shit freaking out and being like, oh, well, Spider-Man was really good and Arkham Asylum is really good.
We know.
Why don't you look at the Wikipedia page for comic book video games and tell me how many of those were genuinely good?
Yeah, and like just remember what unicorns those games are.
Right.
Please.
Like, this is a huge fucking deal. So for every Spider-Man that we were getting, and this is, so to be fair, if you look at the history of comic book adaptations to video games, it has definitely shrunk in the last few years.
Right.
It seemed like for whatever reason, Arkham Asylum maybe changed things. Maybe people saw that you could make an amazing comic book adaptation to a video game. But until that point, we were getting a lot of shit.
Well, I ask the audience to think about how many Marvel movies we've seen since Iron Man, right? And how many Marvel video games we've seen since Iron Man. If those numbers
honestly,
seem,
really not a lot.
if those numbers seem widely disparate to you, then you understand why comic book adaptations into movies hardly ever get video games. People can't seem to figure
Now,
it out.
as Aaron pointed out before we started doing the show, that the Lego versions of all of these things have done very well. We
That's
have
true.
gotten a Lego version of basically every single Marvel movie.
Yeah.
And
fine.
and all the Batman stuff and all the Star Wars stuff, Lego can knock it out of the park.
Which is why I say Lego is its own separate subgenre that is
So-
not.
But those Lego games are pretty much all the same, just with different.
Yeah, you just take the
themes on them.
main storyline and you make it where people fall apart instead of die,
Right.
and with a bunch of puzzles.
All right, so let's jump into the.
So nothing to do with
I
the
do have a
movie.
lot of questions for the panel on this one. Again, our topic is, why are comic book games so bad? So our first question for the panel is, historically, games that are based on comic properties are universally bad. While modern games are getting better, i.e. Spider-Man and Arkham Asylum, this is really the minority. Why has it taken so long for this to happen? Because when you think about it in the history of like comic book video games, for the most part, when you look at them, 9 times out of 10, they are defaulted to simply being a beat 'em up.
Right.
Okay, I'm actually going to kind of throw you for a loop on this. There's actually one case where the video game is better than the comic book.
Okay.
That's the oh god, he's got the little
got crabs?
the dark
making
little
crab
demon
heads.
friends that come.
You're talking about
darkness.
the darkness. The
Yeah.
darkness is literally the exact opposite. The game is way better than the fucking comic is.
That is true.
Both
That
of
is-
those games were phenomenal.
That is true. But that is the exception to the rule. The Darkness is an amazing game, which, by the way, you can buy on Steam, go on Steam, play just the Darkness 1.
Yeah.
Play the fuck out of
Even
this
Darkness
game.
And, and then play 2.
I haven't
Because
played-
2
I-
is
I-
also great.
2 is also
I
great.
can't say to that. I haven't played 2.
Yeah, 2 is
Right.
fun.
Yeah.
2 is wonderful.
Did you like 1? 2 is more of that.
Yeah.
But that's the diamond in the rough.
Yeah,
It
whereas
is.
that comic book is like, oh, look, this looks really good, but it's
Yeah.
the story is horrible.
Right, but for
Well,
years...
just try and remember that. I mean, back in the day, back in the like at NES, SNES, Genesis days, if a really popular and PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 also, if a really popular YA genre superhero anything came out, there would be an accompanying game, and that game was a massive turd.
Yeah, no,
and
actually-
they kept being massive turds.
Yeah, no. Whenever you say beat 'em up, Maximum Carnage.
There was one.
Maximum Carnage is straight up just a side-scrolling beat
Death
'em
and
up.
Return of Superman. Straight up beat 'em up.
But
Sure.
it introduced things that they ended up putting into the comic books later because the game was so much fun as a beat 'em.
I have something much more recent than that. The Blu-ray. I have a Blu-ray copy of Watchmen that was sold to me with a Watchmen video game for my PlayStation 3.
Wow.
The gimmick was that it comes with a Blu-ray copy of Watchmen. Because the game was like maybe like a $20 to $30 game at the most,
Right.
But you also get the
Budget
Blu-ray
title.
copy of Watchmen, which together they're probably worth about $60. So pick up this little like
Right.
thing. But I mean, it was a side-scrolling beat 'em up in 3D, but it was a side-scrolling beat 'em up. It was.
But why is it taking us so long for superhero games to get better?
Oh, I'll tell you 100%. It's because the projects that we talk about when we talk about the Arkham series as a whole, and when we talk about the fucking Spider-Man, they were developed by studios who gave a damn and without the pressure to conform to a movie release date schedule.
Okay, I can see that. That's an excellent point. So, what would we say that are some of the key elements that most superhero games get right?
Punching.
It's okay if there's not a good answer here.
There was this hilarious meme when the Spider-Man game was coming out, is that all of the reviews said it makes you feel like Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And it was across like 50,
like every
50 different review platforms said you feel like Spider-Man. And
That's not just the new Spider-Man game. That goes back to like
the PlayStation 2 Spider-Man.
yeah,
It goes
because
all the
those
way back
games
there.
I remember playing them and I was like, I feel like fucking Spider-Man. I am wandering around actual
Web-slinging
parts,
my ass
swinging
off.
around parts
Yeah.
of New York because they made them look like New York.
And maybe that's
They
what
made
it
as,
is.
like,
Maybe it's
math.
hard to nail what it feels like to be a lot of these characters. For whatever reason, Spider-Man we figured out, and Batman we figured out.
It's
in
how
really
to
good
embody
ways.
that character, where Spider-Man is more hopeful
you-
and the swinging and the action and the storytelling, whereas Batman is more brooding and puzzle solving and dark. And
Right.
those
So-
are
so
elements
how
you
do
have
you-
to put in the game.
So how do you tell the story of a superhero in an interesting way through game mechanics?
Okay.
We figured it out with Batman. It was a stealth game. We wait, we set up traps. That's what it feels like to be fucking Batman. Spider-Man swings through the city. It's a little too fast, and you have to have really good reflexes. And then you feel once you master
then
that
you get
system,
gadgets.
when you get gadgets, and you feel like once you're mastering the system, when you're really kicking ass using all the tools at your disposal, you feel like Spider-Man.
Right.
See, I was just thinking, all right, let's say, because we have Spider-Man, great franchise, amazing games. We have the Batman Arkham stuff, which is, for the most part, great games. And I was like, okay, what would I do to make like an Iron Man game great? And it's like, okay, you take everything from Batman Arkham, and you get rid of all the puzzle solving, and you just have a rich guy wandering around being a rich guy.
He wins with money.
Right,
Yeah.
but Iron Man is this weird...
Because he's a boring-ass, annoying character who does
Right.
nothing but evil.
But Iron Man is this character that's basically, like, on paper, built to be in a video game.
Yep.
Think about
But
it.
real.
he's built to be in a smash 'em up, beat 'em up character.
No,
we,
it's not, though.
just played Anthem all weekend, and if that's not an Iron Man game, I don't know what
Tony,
is.
did you
Yeah.
look at the color of my armor?
Once I told you where you could change the color of your
Yes.
armor.
Yeah.
Because I went bubblegum pink on everything.
Yeah,
Blue and pink.
I straight up made Iron Man with my armor.
Nice.
And I'm like, that's all Anthem is. Like,
Yeah.
that's straight up.
And it's
get to-
really
You get
cool.
to customize every single bit of that armor. And like, but you look at things like the web upgraded system that you have in Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Okay, so we just put that in armor.
Yeah, easy.
Right?
Easy.
He already makes
Give him
a
a bunch
million
of different
gadgets.
Yeah.
You make all these different suits of armor. He seems like the most like natural person to like have his own superhero video game, and the only time we've gotten iterations about him,
You know,
it's been bad.
you know why?
Right, and let's
you
not
know why
let's
it's
not
bad?
forget-
Because he has no good villains. What is something that the Spider-Man games have and the Batman games have? They have good
Just
fucking
a
villains.
menagerie
and
of
Iron
villains
Man
for
has
both.
what?
True.
The other dude that's not Iron Man,
He gets
and the
Mandarin.
other dude that's not Iron Man.
He has the Mandarin.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
If we could just do something interesting with the Mandarin, for Christ's sakes, that would be great.
They tried that in the movies and it was not good.
Because they didn't do something interesting with the Mandarin.
They
made him a white guy with a dragon tattoo.
Anthem is Iron Man Simulator. That's absolutely correct.
You know what they
Okay.
did to Iron
I
Man?
mean, you
the same
default to superhero landing.
Yeah.
When like on every suit is slamming your fist on the ground.
So we said that they get at least the combat right 9 times out of 10, right?
Yes.
You tend to feel like
thing. Batman
it's
figured out
superpowered.
that formula. Spider-Man, the Spider-Man
Punching shit good.
game was the old Arkham formula.
So what do we
100%.
think that superhero games get wrong 9 times out of 10? Then what are the flaws that we think of the top of our head that just don't work
Oh,
with
for me,
most
it
superhero?
it
video
never
games?
becomes immersive.
Right.
And that's what I mean by when you say like, oh, you feel like you're Superman,
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, or feel like you're Batman. I am not immersed in the character and world enough to actually feel like I am part of it.
Right.
I need to have that veil come across where I am now it. It is
So
now
in
me.
Spider-Man-
And there was this problem. And let's not forget that right after Iron Man came out, we're talking like 2008, there was a PlayStation 3 Iron Man game that launched after the movie and bombed really badly because they didn't really figure out how to make you Tony Stark and make you care about that at all. You ended up being floating, flying Iron Man shooting rockets at brown people in the desert. That was the game, and it did not go over well with
I hate
anyone.
to tell you this. This is literally what Anthem is, except for there's plants instead, and they're
Well, you know.
they're alien monsters instead of brown people.
You know,
it's
we
literally
already,
the same thing.
we already said we're pre-ordering it.
Yeah,
so-
we've all pre-ordered Iron Man Simulator Anthem.
Yeah. But I mean, you bring a good point home though, because one of the things that I love about Spider-Man on the PS4 is that there's 2 sides to it. One side is me in my $20.99 outfit, because I will never take that fucking outfit off.
Damn right.
Like running around playing Spider-Man. The other part of it is those quiet moments as Peter Parker.
Yeah.
You get these scenes where they're not quick time events or you don't have to multiple choice it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just dialogue between Peter and like Dr. Octavius or Aunt
Yeah.
May, and you're getting to experience these moments where you just get to be that normal person because he can't be Spider-Man all the time.
Right, and when you want to talk about like what we're talking about in the gameplay section is like I need to feel like Spider-Man. Well, I need to feel like Iron Man or Thor or Captain America,
Right.
or the Arrow if we're gonna go back into DC. But that stuff that Spider-Man did in the Spider-Man game was all just so extra, and that was the part that really made it impressive. Is not just that it's cool to be Peter Parker, but like what they did with Dr. Octavius threw everyone for a loop. Those moments where you're not playing as Peter Parker or Spider-Man, when you're MJ and realizing like how vulnerable you are in that situation, or playing as
Bitch needs to stay out of some trouble, by the way.
yeah, or playing as help me out, Miles Morales,
Yeah.
like once in a while.
That
And
was
you're
a
like,
tough thing.
whoa.
Yeah, that was tough.
Like that is all really part and parcel of like the Spider-Man universe, but they made it into interesting gameplay. And if these other universes
one
can
of the
do
things,
the same thing,
and I know that we're going to kind of keep going back to the Spider-Man but almost one of the things that Spider-Man got right is it didn't feel beholden to the lore and yet felt beholden to the lore.
right?
So like MJ and Peter Parker, not together.
Right.
Miles Morales is not even close to being a Spider-Man yet.
Right.
Right. Like, there's all these little elements. Like Aunt May is like a little bit older than the movies, but definitely younger than the comics.
Right.
And like she's like out and working and trying to support Peter, and Peter is not working at the Bugle. Right. That was a
Right.
big thing we threw out, so that's
Yeah.
not happening. Peter should be a scientist. That's what he's doing. He's working on science after high school. There's all these little disparate elements that it got right in the sense that it loved the source material, but never. That's what I'm looking for. It loves the source material,
Yeah.
but never feels beholden to it.
True.
Okay.
And I think my biggest tragedy in all of this is I feel like it wouldn't like Witcher, it would be really hard to make like a good Captain America game without getting just way too political. But how hard would it be to make a good...
I think punching Nazis is always like
No,
not
no,
political.
and
It's
that's
always punch
great.
Nazis.
But do you have him like murdering people with guns, or do you have him like punching Nazis in the modern streets of New York? Like you have to figure out what you're doing there, and
You
it's
can always Agents of Shield it and say that they're
There will-
using sound bullets
Well,
or
my
some
my
bullshit.
point is that there's always baggage. But how hard would it be to make a Thor video game? Come on,
Right.
You could
I was
you
actually
could do
thinking
something
about-
amazing with a Thor video game. We have the blueprint from all the fucking Lord of the Rings games that came out for the PlayStation 2 when those movies were coming out.
Yeah.
Long beat 'em up, like upgradable skills. Like that's not that hard. And you have a fucking Chris Hemsworth. You have the Thor. Like you could have railroaded us with like 4 of those games, and I probably would have played.
Yeah, no, we were just when you were talking about Spider-Man, I immediately was thinking, like, okay, what ones wouldn't translate well? And I was like, well, the Flash. And I was like, no, the technology's now come so far
Flash would be
that you
awesome.
could actually make an amazing Flash video game.
Make it Devil May Cry style.
Also, make it
Yeah.
Devil May Cry style, but yeah, and you have to have that. So I also really prefer Dante's Inferno and God of War. They're all
same-
basically the same fucking game.
right.
They are action.
Where you get to equip certain
Third-person
things-
action beat 'em up.
third-person action beat 'em up, where you have to equip certain things at certain times to beat certain bosses.
Right.
And we can do the quick time still event where you basically go into vats and you can like
Right.
speed time punch somebody in the face 20 times.
And it's not like the Flash
or
doesn't
you
have
could
gadgets.
lightning
Flash
bolt
has plenty of
things.
gadgets.
And I was thinking, is like, no, fuck yes, get the Devil May Cry engine, which again, all 3 of these games I think were based on like the Devil May Cry engine, and just make the Flash in it, and I'd be fucking happy as hell.
Yeah.
And that's what technology's finally now to a point where making these games is possible
there we
as
go.
long as you do it Adam's Family.
Tony's finally getting to the answer that I was looking for with question number 1, which is why has this taken so long for us to get good superhero games? And my answer was it's technology.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, why did it take so long to get superhero movies that were good? Technology.
Technology.
We had to be able to do CGI
Yeah.
Right.
to do the level of making someone turn into fucking
It's not like we
Thanos.
could have made a Watchmen movie in the 80s.
So real quick,
right?
just to kind of go back to our point of what elements do developers get wrong when they make superhero games, to go back to Spider-Man, they forget the alter ego. Like I love the Batman games, but one of the things
You're never Bruce Wayne.
You're never Bruce Wayne. It's one of the reasons I love the Telltale games is because I was
yeah.
Bruce Wayne the whole time.
Yeah, and that was awesome.
Batman was such a minor part of that, and that's how I wanted my Batman story. And I know that's not for everybody.
You'd rather have it be like, I'd rather be the rich guy detective than the punching people, especially on a choose your own adventure style
Right.
game.
Give me a detective, right? So, given all the things that we've talked about so far, what things should developers really take into consideration when they're approaching a comic to game adaptation? And they say, "All right, you get a comic. How are you going to adapt this?"
Well, you gotta take the core power set of that hero and what type of game that would easily transfer to.
Right.
And by easily, I mean like we said, the Flash and like fucking Devil May Cry, where you do a press X really fast and then you do this moveset thing.
Right, and I think like
Or Thor, where you have to do an incredibly complicated combo system and you smash everything with a hammer.
I think you think about the hero. I'm sorry, far before you think about the game and the mechanics, because Spider-Man works very, very well in an open world game in New York. We've seen it 1,000 times because it really does work.
Yeah, no, back
because
to the PS2,
Right.
it hasn't changed. The new one didn't change the boat.
Spider-Man
It's the
has
same
been
thing.
on thousands of adventures outside of New York City, but what are you going to do with him? You're not going to have him romping through the woods or in outer space or on some alien planet without skyscrapers to swing around.
We saw
on.
him in the
'Cause
movie
goddamn.
Homecoming, where there's no skyscrapers, and you're just like, watch Spider-Man walk.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. Watch Spider-Man call an Uber. Yeah. So you consider the element before you consider the game, because if you think about Spider-Man, you think about an open world game set in the city. If you're thinking about Batman, hopefully you think about a detective story, even if you're going to go with the beat 'em up aspect.
Lots of enclosed areas.
Exactly. So what do you do with a character like the Black Widow? You could make something very cool like that, but it would probably be a lot more like an Uncharted game.
Metal Gear.
Yeah, Metal Gear, very cool. If you think about Thor, you're probably thinking about something, I don't know.
Giant warscapes. Or I'm thinking
Yeah.
Shadow of Mordor. Just
Shadow of
You know,
Mordor is a perfect example.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
that would
at
be
this
awesome.
point, like, I'm now pissed that because I know these Lord of the Rings games exist, that I don't have a Thor game that is just as fun with like Led Zeppelin as the soundtrack.
God, I would go insane for that.
Yeah. So yeah, I think you're absolutely nailing it on the head. When you think about a comic book to game adaptation, think about the hero, think about the power set, but also think about the person, right? Not every hero is another side person, but a lot of them are.
Yeah.
Take that into consideration when you're making the game. So that leads me to my next question. Are there any aspects of comics that you would consider just unadaptable? I don't mean titles, just when you think about comics as a medium, is there something in there that you think is just...
Well, there's certain comic books like
Yes.
Sandman. You're just like, why would you ever? That there's zero reason to ever be a video game.
The first thing that came to mind when you said that was Saga. Like, we don't need
Another
a video
one,
game.
literally zero
We don't
reason
need
to ever make that a
about
video
Saga.
game.
We don't.
Right.
This is
But you're thinking
comic
about...
book stories that are highly into the actual story and not action or monster based.
Right.
Totally don't need a video game. Like
Some things
there's-
are just better described on film rather than games, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of that. How would an Iron Man game be different from, say, a Captain Marvel video game? Probably not very. So you have to think about like who you adapt into what, also.
Right.
But some things, yeah, would be pretty unadaptable.
So you think that the heavier the narrative, the harder it is to adapt, essentially?
It may not even be an aspect of that. It may be an aspect of how much do they do, and can you make that interesting?
like let's take like Magneto. Magneto would be a really fun character in a video game to have his own standalone
It'd be
thing.
an interesting game.
But
be
there
so
are
dark.
there are very specific, like the best. What was that Magneto storyline where it's him as a kid in
Magneto's Testament.
Yeah, Magneto's Testament. Not a good video game.
Yeah, it's
not
true.
a good video game at all.
Also, if you've
Horrible
not
game.
read Magneto's Testament, please, I implore all of you.
Yeah, no, great book.
It is not a superhero story. There's no superpowers in it. It has an entire section in the back of it that's literally so you can buy this book and hand it out to students and have them learn about World War II. It is so good and so dark. But yeah, you're absolutely
But
right.
yeah,
It's
there's no.
narrative
We would
driven.
never do that.
Keep that on
Yeah.
my radar for Friday. That sounds really cool.
I
Yeah, no.
absolutely love
There's.
it.
I think it comes down to the type of story you want to tell in a comic book versus the type of story you want to tell in a video game.
Right.
And most of the time, as a video game, you are trying to put yourself in you want the player to feel like that person. You want the player to be Peter Parker or be Batman.
Yeah.
And in some cases, there are games that do have the emotional depth to allow you to feel like that character and make those choices. And they
Right.
look at like Heavy Rain as an example. Life is Strange is another example of
The Last
games
of
that.
Us.
Let me tell you, going through that Miles Morales section when
Yeah.
everything's on fire, I won't spoil
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
I felt
That first moment,
like
yeah.
a person who was weak because I wasn't a superhero trying to be a superhero, and it was heartbreaking.
It was
And,
awesome.
and you can do that
Very
with
well done.
certain stories that you want to tell, and not every story needs to be done that way. Like I said, Sandman was one of my favorite comics of all time. But how do you make
just
a
don't.
game out of dreams?
You don't.
Yeah.
you
You just
cannot do that.
No, you
Even
might
though
as well
there is
try
a
and-
story
Maybe
in
someday.
the comics.
I would love to see that technology, and I want to be there when it happens. But right now,
I need
we're
a
not
fully
there.
moving 3D background that's
yeah, at
constantly
what point do
changing
you
into
make
dream
that game? It's like trying to
sequences.
make the video game adaptation of like what dreams may come or something like that, right?
That
Yeah,
being
no,
said, when
don't
I
do that.
originally went into this discussion, I was like, I don't think I could adapt Transmet to a video game. And then I really thought about it. I'm like, oh yeah, I could.
Actually,
A heartbeat.
I hate to break the. I hate to do this. I would make a side-scrolling beat 'em up.
Oh god, that'd be horrible.
I would make an old school '80s Transmet side-scrolling beat 'em up where he has to go and beat up on aliens and
Oh,
then beat up the cops
God.
for beating up on the aliens.
It's like
All
the
right.
game Spider would make about himself.
right.
yeah,
So
I would make that.
So that brings us to our next question, and we only have two left. Are comic book games getting better, or do we just have rare gems these days, like Spider-Man or Batman?
I would have to say they're getting better only because they're so fewer and farther between nowadays that the ones that come out really do seem to make an impact. And you know what we're completely casting aside is all of the bullshit mobile games that that these characters have appeared in over the last couple of years.
Dude,
I
seriously,
play a
there's-
minimum of 4.
There's
Yeah.
a Marvel game that comes out on your cell phone at least once a month.
Right, and I don't have any experience with them except
I run clans in 4 of them.
from people who talk about them and say like there's really nothing of value here, but I love these characters, so I play this game.
True.
The people not watching on Twitch couldn't see the head shaking that
Yeah,
was.
and I
the,
mean, we've
run a clan
neglected
in
things
4.
like the Telltale
Oh god,
games.
that's so bad.
Right.
We're neglecting like Telltale Walking Dead.
Oh, yeah.
Like the narrative that had its own independent story outside of the TV show and outside of the fucking comic books.
That was
With a-
canon in the universe.
With
Yeah.
an excellent main character that was a little girl in the first
Yeah,
season.
we have things like Injustice, which is a straight up fighting game, which has one of the best storylines, if not
got the beat 'em up, but no
best
side scroll,
story,
so.
the best storyline of any fighting
Yeah,
game.
no, to the point where I
ever.
was like,
Yeah.
this is the best DC story I've read ever, and it's in a fucking fighting
It's
game.
just a fighting game.
Right. So I honestly do believe that video game or comic book video game adaptations are getting better.
Right.
I
It's just
can
we're
tell you
taking-
exactly why.
We're taking more care, and we have the
And
technology.
it is the taking care and better technology, and I believe that the taking care part is the people who are now making these comic book video game adaptations are people who were fans of video games and fans of comic books when they were younger and played things like Maximum Carnage and were like, well, this is fun.
Superman 64.
But then they went and played Superman 64 and went, well, this is awful.
Yeah.
And then they
I
played...
spent my fucking like month's allowance on Superman 64.
You poor child.
Think about the kid that bought Shaq Fu and then went to work on Injustice and made Injustice because he said, fuck you, I can do this better because I
That
actually
is
like
true.
this shit.
That is true. All right, so our last question for the panel, I wanted to save a fun one for last. You are given, this is a theoretical question, you are given an unlimited budget for the next big comic book video game. What is the property and what is the genre?
Aside from my Transmet side-scrolling beat 'em up because that
I mean,
just sounds
you-
like fun to me.
I mean, you can phone that one in.
No, I'm just trying to think of like what comic books have I read recently that I really want to do. There is the game coming out that I'm really excited for, and that's coming on the Switch. That's the third version of the Marvel Hero.
Ultimate Alliance,
Yeah,
yeah.
Marvel Ultimate Alliance, and another good, not necessarily comic book, but comic book The characters are in the
Yes.
game.
Comic book adjacent.
Yeah, much like the cell phone games.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is like Hector, you got anything? You got any?
I would do the one that I mentioned earlier. I would make a game about Black Widow and I'd do it in the style of Uncharted. I would do like long form, linear, cool adventure as the Black Widow.
She
Plenty
deserves
of-
her own game. She
She
really
does.
does.
Plenty of gunplay, lots of really cool like shoot 'em ups and big grand set pieces. I think it would be amazing.
Right.
I'd be super into it.
I would almost. Never mind. That's a little too obvious. I was going to say I would like put her in like a Last of Us scenario, like put her in Chernobyl.
Oh, sure. Yeah, no, I could see that. Yeah, for me, it would be just an espionage like thing,
Yeah.
like any story out of James Bond, just something super cool. When every once in a while, like you get like a Captain America or an Iron Man,
You gotta have those
a
guest
couple.
appearances.
Yeah, you get some cameos here and there, but it's all about Black Widow and like the people that she fights with. Lots of Hawkeye in there, just doing his bit, you know.
Absolutely.
It was a few years ago. It was a comic book I think it was called Bedlam that we really liked.
Yes, it was so good.
I'm thinking I would go with Bedlam, but I'm doing as a survival game. Much
That was an Image.
So
comic or
Bedlam
Vertigo?
is a very interesting comic. It was an indie. I thought it was indie. Maybe it was Image.
I mean, it's
And-
indie in the fact that I think it was printed on Image, but
Yeah.
like completely created.
So the
on it.
concept about Bedlam, if you haven't read it, and I highly recommend at least picking up the first trade to see if you like it, is the idea of like, what if Batman was real and they were all actually just that insane? It's a weird way to describe it, but like it's like you look at Batman and say, well, realistically, if he was a real person, he'd be batshit insane.
Oh, yeah.
That's what Bedlam is.
I would like to do that, but let's go with. I have to do the team behind it. I'm getting it. Guillermo del Toro and Kojima. They're gonna not make the walking simulator. Instead, they're making my game.
Okay.
That's my unlimited budget. I'm
Limited
throwing
budget.
at.
All
If I was
right.
gonna make Kojima make a video game, I'd have him make a Watchmen video game,
Right.
And it would probably not even be a video game, and it would be completely unplayable, but hilariously artistic and amazing.
So while I'm not as intimately familiar with the Teen Titans property, I've not watched the cartoon, but I'm familiar with enough of the characters, I guess. My girlfriend loves Teen Titans, so I know a lot about it through her. I'm going to get the Persona team to make me an RPG
No,
using Teen Titans.
No, because I'm gonna hear.
That sounds awesome.
You know why?
That sounds really awesome.
You know why? Because I'm gonna get really tired of hearing cyborg, cyborg every time he does a fucking power up.
No,
thingy.
you don't even hear it yet in your
Because-
dreams. Every time Robin does a thing and yells "fuck Batman,"
No, I'm thinking like original Teen Titans,
Right.
Not Titans the TV show. but
Yeah,
original
let's
Teen
not do Titans the TV
because you can
show
do that
and
blend of like the daytime, like hey, like we're like kids and we're like going around doing our like social stuff, and then come nighttime, like let's all get together and be superheroes,
Right.
Which is very impractical and bad for their studies, by the way.
Yes.
but I think it would be fun.
But all the most fun moments are when you Robin is at school in high school
Right.
and he does cool like Batman-esque shit, but he's at school and he's not in the uniform, but he's
Exactly.
like fuck you, don't be a bully. That's all my favorite
See,
shit.
that would be so much fun.
It would be. It'd
All
be
right.
great.
That is everything that we have for the epilogue this week. I think it was a really fun topic.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
that
yeah.
that comic games are getting better.
They are. They definitely are.
They're definitely
We
getting
are
better.
We're finally at that point where some movie game adaptations are good. Most video game adaptations are decent at this point.
Right. Well, let's not get through the entire epilogue without talking about like what we're all thinking about the upcoming Ultimate Alliance like next game.
Yeah, that's true.
The modern take on Ultimate Alliance, which I think we're all really looking forward to.
We all want
Honestly-
Switches just to play
Honestly,
that.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure we're all going to. There will be at least probably 2 Switches in this apartment just so
yeah.
we can play
Oh, yeah.
together and not have to share those stupid.
That'll be
Joy-Con
an
things.
opening night thing where we're just going
Ways
to
like
town.
we're just going to stream this and
Just run
Yeah.
Couch Co-op. If you want to donate,
Yes.
by the way, so that we can buy Switches, Tony, where can they do that?
twitch.tv/WhatSoNerd. There's a donate button. We're live Monday
There
about
is.
7:30 Central. Also, various times throughout the week. You should check Twitter, which is @TheSurlyNerd. We'll let you know when we're live streaming things, or Facebook.com/TheSurlyNerd, where we also post stuff.
Yeah.
Our website, you can donate on there, SurlyNerd.com. This goes up a little bit live before it hits Spotify and everybody else. Just a little bit, like in 12 hours or so.
Yeah.
Whenever I actually get done editing, I don't have a hard date on that. Generally, it's up on Wednesdays.
Yeah.
We've got info@thesurlyNerd.com is our email address. That's kind of a last resort. There's way more social media shit to get in contact with us. And I'm done.
All right. Special thank you to our super fan Jack, who bought us these amazing Overwatch Legos.
I'm
We-
surprised
Yes,
we weren't
they're
building them
awesome.
while we were doing the show, but we all would have stopped talking and just been playing.
Yeah,
with
we
them.
would have. At some point, there would have been dead air where everyone's just looking for that last fin for
Where
the
the
payload.
fuck is that gray piece I just had?
We really appreciate everything that you do for us, Jack. You've been such a great fan. We really just are
Love
absolutely
you, dude.
Thank
amazing.
you so much.
All right, so that's everything we have for the show this week. This is episode 294 in the books. Man, we are rounding the corner to 300.
Yeah, we
let me
are.
Tell ya.
It's coming up way too soon.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, that's everything we have for the show this week. Until next week, for Tony, this is James.
For James, this is Tony,
And I'm Hector.
Adventurers, good night.
and good game. It would like literally be you
Yeah,
at work.
just be-
You sit
yeah,
there
that's all it'd be.
Clicking of Legos together and the rumbling noises of going through a box. Yeah, I worked next to you. I fucking remember the Lego Extremeville that we had everywhere.
That sounds awesome. I
Were,
love it.
were you there whenever we had the Lego? Literally, you remember the long desks that we had, like the
No.
2-person desks
Yes,
that really
yes.
could fit 4 people?
Oh, yeah.
One of those for 4 people was entirely Legos.
That's awesome. I'm sad that I missed it.
Every desk had Legos on it everywhere because someone couldn't quit fucking building them at work. Which we all loved and
I
didn't
was
really
gonna
care.
say that sounds great.
Oh, it was
Why don't you
so
stop?
he's playing with Legos, and the rest of us are playing like Diablo. And like he's like, none of us are working. Fine, I
There's-
guess.
it's the night crew. There wasn't a ton to do.
The day crew was doing this too.
Oh,
Yeah, what work was pretty much in.
did we have tasks to complete? Probably.
I was
not.
given tasks.
Hey, I was on the night shift for the better part of a year.
I'm still like, all right. So that's the one. Like, like, I
in
try to
that
like not
year,
have regrets.
I think I did a solid like hour of work.
My work regret for HP was hiring Tim.
Oh, but well, yes.
Think about my Teen Titans idea.
All right,
I like the
I'm gonna sign us. I'm gonna sign us out. Night, guys.